Bo Jiggly.
Right there.
The Bo Jiggly.
Yeah.
All right, Tennessee Bo Jiggly. We have when a girl's vagina goes inside your penis.
Y'all right there?
Oh, God.
Perfectly
My
well
mind
done.
immediately tried to picture it, and then it recoiled, but the recoil was too late.
I can't actually picture that. Why, hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 33 of the Thought Patrol podcast. I am joined by Caitlyn,
Hello.
Shawn,
Happy Christmas Kwanzaa.
indeed, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever that does not
Merry Christmas.
offend you. And we are doing a special, well, not very special, but a little Christmas Eve night podcast
For us.
recording. That is where we are right now.
That. This shit is special. We
It's
could've done
special.
other stuff. This is special. We are giving our listeners our time and love. This is fucking special as shit, you guys. You are blessed with our presence. This is some special shit right here.
Sure.
Damn.
So I hope all of you out there that are tuning in today, whatever you celebrate, whatever you do, even if you don't celebrate, just go hang out with your family and make some awesome memories. That's definitely what it's all about. No matter what you believe or don't believe, what you celebrate or do not celebrate, we just all take this time for joy, giving presents, receiving presents, and making good memories with the people around you in your life.
Absolutely.
So,
And as a side note, I'm watching something hilarious. There's a terribly confused mosquito that is desperately trying to suck human blood out of a tangerine, and it's not working so well.
poor guy.
Me as fuck.
Yeah, he's
Me
just
as
sitting
fuck.
there like poking it, and it's not working, and he pokes it again, it's not working. I don't have the heart to kill him. I feel so bad for him. Especially considering I'm pretty sure that'll kill him.
Yeah, dude. It's like his first day out on the prowl, trying to suck some human blood, man. And he's
He
just
doesn't know like what the fuck's going on.
it's his first
huh?
day, man. He missed the third day of class. He didn't know about distinguishing humans, so he's just going at it. And if he probably does get in that tangerine, which he probably won't, he might kill himself. But hey,
I'm pretty sure he flew like 2 inches after a while and then fell over. So
well, you live and you learn. I guess that's today's motto.
yeah,
So.
sure that's what's going through his head right now.
So I'm glad you all, or both of you, can join me today. I am, for this being technically the end of our first year doing this podcast. I think it's been an awesome ride so far. We're not too big, but we do get quite a pull, at least on Audioboom. And for all of you tuning in, thank you for sticking with us. And here's to 2018. Hopefully we have a good year of some growth, maybe getting some more people into the
That's for next
community.
week, Kyle.
Whatever.
It's
Whatever.
Christmas.
I'm getting all of it out of the way, just in case. So we love all you guys that tune in, interact with us, whatever you do to help support us. We really appreciate it. Just getting that all out of the way so I don't forget. And so how have your guys' weeks been? Me and Caitlyn have had a very productive week. So we're going to start with you, Shawn. How have you been?
My week's been, well, it was fairly average. I mean, you get all excited because it's the last week of work before Christmas, and then I got fairly, with this new position, I'm getting paid a lot less, which sucks, so I had a tiny check, so my daughter ended up putting money into the pot so we could buy presents for everybody. I put about $300 in, and I think she put about another $5 in. To do the Christmas shopping for everybody, or $4, and I'm not sure. I think it was about $5 or $4. But anyway, we went ham Friday. We went really hardcore. We spent the morning Christmas shopping with my mother, and then we spent the afternoon Christmas shopping with my buddy Andy, and that was an adventure. It got a little fucking tiresome near the end. Everybody was pretty much ready to be done. It was just grabbing the last few things that we knew we had to get, so to speak. But outside of that, that was pretty much it was just make it through the week and then, do the Christmas shopping thing. And then the last few days, it's just been kind of being lazy, playing games. And since my daughter and I are both real shit at not not giving Christmas, holding on to presents before the holiday. We've already given each other like 3 presents we shouldn't have.
Aw, that's cute.
Well,
You're just like come downstairs and
tomorrow now.
She's sitting there and she's like, "Oops," and like rips open one of the presents for you. Here you go. A little early.
Yeah.
A lot of our shopping this year was done mostly online, so we didn't really actually have a day where we all went out. Besides one thing we got for our mother.
Chickens.
So for the most part, it's been mostly online shopping, but we have most of the presents wrapped. Everything's good for tomorrow morning, and we're going to have some family come over and just kind of hang out for the day and have Christmas dinner as always and stuff like that, and just enjoy the day, spend some time with family. So it's going to be pretty cool. Now, I just realized, Shawn,
some of that.
Like the first 3 minutes of this podcast, I had your audio like way too low. It was like 11 decibels lower than it should have been. So I'm going to have to fix that in post. But hey, again, you never come here and expect production values, so that's good.
Okay. I say every fucking time.
I know, I do. It's our motto. If we ever make shirts, that's going to be our first T-shirt. 100% professionalism, 0% of the time, or something. Whatever we say, I don't remember.
We are professionally unprofessional. I don't know what you're talking about.
Indeed. So, what about you, Caitlyn? You have anything you'd like to share from this past week? Star Wars is main topic for today, so you don't have to talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
I mean, not really. I didn't really do much this week, so
nothing big.
Not really. I worked my ass off.
Yeah, that's been good. What was I gonna say? What was I gonna say? Shit. My week's been crazy. We've actually got a lot of new things that we've done over the last week.
Can I let Bruce in?
That's Bruce at the door. Yeah, go ahead, let Bruce in, I guess. So he can make noise inside instead of outside.
Well, he's going to lay on the bed. Just gonna sit there.
So recently we've seen a couple movies, played a couple of games. I'll start with games, I guess. Recently got Assassin's Creed Origins. It was on sale for the winter sale for Steam, and I've been playing through that on my PC. Really enjoying it so far. I'm surprised. I did not think I would like it as much as I did. I think the year that they took off to make this game really helped. There's been a lot of changes to how the game plays normally. It feels a bit different. They made some changes to the controls and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm really enjoying it. I'm in the first big city, Alexandria, and just this game is gorgeous. It's so pretty. And just playing an Assassin's Creed game like at 60 frames with everything looking gorgeous, it's really an awesome experience. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Besides that, Jonathan came over. He spent the night, one night this week, and we hung out. We basically, hey, look at that, Bruce making noise. Stupid dog. So Jonathan came over one night. He hung out. We played some Siege on the computer. Just chilled. We actually started Fate Apocrypha, which is an anime that you could. I think the easiest way to see is probably on Netflix. And it is, I'm surprised at how much I enjoyed that show. Have you seen Fate Apocrypha, Tyler? Have you seen Fate Apocrypha, Shawn?
I watched the trailer for it. I haven't watched it yet because I'm trying to figure out what order I want to watch the shows in. Because I've only watched the one film and then the prequel that sets the entire universe up.
I'd say with Fate Apocrypha, it's probably like the latest in the series of all of them.
Chronologically?
Yeah, because I think it takes place like half a century after Fuyuki, which is Unlimited Blade Works and like Heaven's Feel and all that shit. So it's like 50 years after that this one takes place. It's not done by UFO Table, sadly, so the animation isn't drop dead gorgeous. But for the most part, when fights are going on, they're really well done. Now, we all know Fate has a gigantic fucking budget, so it always is able to afford more of in-depth fighting scenes and choreography when it comes to that. But it's fun. It's a fun watch. There's nothing really deep going on story-wise, which I don't really expect from Fate in general. I mean, Zero had a good, at least... Usually these shows kind of just build up really interesting and lovable characters, and you see them duke it out, and then sometimes we'll have underlying things, such as the whole homunculus thing and stuff like that. And it's a really enjoyable. I definitely recommend it. I did not think I would like it as much as I did, especially since it wasn't being done by UFO Table. But it's really fun. The fighting's awesome. There's a lot of it, a lot of action going on. It kind of feels like it's like a superhero movie, but in an anime. And you get to see all these like heroes from the past and their legends and stuff like that come together to fight. And in the way Apocrypha does it is, instead of it being a group of 7, it's 2 teams of 7 that duke it out for a larger Holy Grail. So instead of having just 7 servants we're looking at trying to remember from history, we have 14 now all of a sudden. So there's 2 teams.
So they haven't figured out that the Grail is evil yet?
Well, this Grail is different. The Greater Holy Grail is actually something that already exists on the Earth instead of it manifesting itself. And it's something that every couple years it will like charge with energy, and then it's not this one's not like a construction of like the Mages Guild. It's like different. It's weird. I haven't finished it yet because there's 24 episodes and Netflix likes to do their seasons like an entire season at a time. And so the second season isn't done yet, so they haven't released it. So I don't really know exactly what this Grail is yet, but for the most part, it doesn't feel like it's a construction of the Mages Guild. It feels like it's something that's more natural.
Like a malevolent intelligence, then?
As of current, no, it really hasn't done anything to prove itself otherwise. So we'll have to see what happens, because there's going to be 24 episodes, and I've only seen the first 12. But music is fantastic. Characters are very enjoyable. I mean, you might have there's if people haven't seen the Fate series before, you might have some issues with characters that like, so say like they're Jack the Ripper, but instead of it being a creepy dude, it's a young girl. Because why the fuck not? Thanks, Japan. So anime. Yeah, I mean, it's anime. It's just some quirks that come with it. But
it rewrites history.
Yeah,
I mean, you just look at it like what we know of Jack the Ripper is wrong, and it actually was a female. Or like with Arthur, it was his daughter. When Arthur passed away, she took over the name of Arthur and adopted that name and forgot her own and ruled in his place.
Yeah, and some of the things, if you, at least with like Arthur, it kind of makes sense that, because, well, King Arthur, or Saber, though, is actually Arthur Pendragon, but goes under the guise of a male, because women weren't allowed power in that time period.
Yeah, that was it.
So she disguised herself as a man and ruled as king. And she apparently had an heir that was lied to. This is the Red Saber of this show, and was one of the knights that was underneath Arthur, and that like fought for her. But she was apparently also a girl that was disguising her nature as a man, and she had like a full set of armor, but she's super fucking OP, and she's Saber of Red. But it's cool just seeing like
so
kind of like a
Saber is one of
the heirs
Saber's
to the throne.
Knights.
Yeah, and apparently
Blue Saber's daughter.
Not actually a daughter, but she never like actually had a child. But so this was supposedly the heir to her throne, and it was this girl that disguised herself as a man as well and fought with a armor. But apparently, the Blue Saber, King Arthur, did not see the potential of her, and didn't allow her to become to the throne. And you know that scene in Fate Zero where like she's like surrounded by all these dead knights and she's there with like holding onto her sword? That was brought about by this new Saber that they present in this show, because she betrayed her and fought against her and killed most of her armies, because they're both apparently super OP. So they kind of unveil that, and you see a little bit more of that story and that connection between the two. But a lot of the storytelling and the writing is really good. They delve into the past of some of these characters. Like they have Frankenstein's monster, which is also apparently a woman, because why not? But her backstory is really cool, really tragic. It follows the idea of Frankenstein, and it's just nice they actually show it to you. You see it, you see how it existed in this world, and they explain that to you. And you see it builds a lot of like these characters' stories, what they actually wished for their world. So it's a very good show. I'm very surprised at how well it's done. Music's fantastic. You get to see a little bit more into the idea of the homunculus, and one of the characters actually is one that escapes and is saved, and you get to see his plight of kind of knowing that there's a bunch of other ones like him that are being used for their magic circuits and just killed and slaughtered. And he has to like fight with that, and whether or not to save them and all that. It's very interesting. and it's just very enjoyable. On top of that, the action's fantastic. So I highly recommend it. Again, it's on Netflix.
Wasn't Ilya born from a union between a homunculus and a human?
Yes.
Yeah.
But this was way before, and like the way they in this war, the caster of Blue Side, all their colors are blue, but they're called the Black Side. I don't know why, but the caster of Black, he actually has a farm of homunculus. So in this time period, this homunculus thing is common at this point, where they just do it. It's a thing. It's known. It happens, and everyone's just okay with it. So they have farms of homunculus that they use for their magic circuits because they're trying to build like this golem army to help in this war.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's really fucked up, and
morality goes so fucking dark. And I don't know, man. You said that the story it actually has some depth. I think Fate's always had a deep story, but I think that it's always been more about the characters and character relationships and things like that. It always, to me, seems to move with the pacing of a thriller. It's never been a fast moving show, although it does get along pretty quick. But I always get this feeling like it's kind of dragging ass just a little bit because of all the different characters they have to build up and work through.
Yeah, I understand.
But I think that's one of its benefits.
Yeah, I do like the Fate series as a whole, and I find them very enjoyable. And this one's a very good addition to the series. And I think now in spring, we got a Grand Order show coming around the corner, too, which is really awesome. So we're going to get a whole new cast of characters. But Grand Order is far into the future and has to actually do with some time travel. So we might see some cool cameos come into play. So, again, very enjoyable show. If it sounds interesting to you, god damn, Bruce. Can you just lay down, dude? I told you not to let him in here.
You're like, yeah, let him in. Kyle's recording, you fuck. Don't even try
Cut
me.
back to the first 2 minutes. Yeah, let him in.
Don't even try me.
I'm pretty sure you did kind of tell her to let him in.
I probably did.
try
It's
me.
because he scratches at the door and he makes a mess. He can't just sit down and not do anything. Bruce, I'm going
He's
to
a
tie
little
you
boy.
to
What
the
do you
bed.
expect?
He's a dog, Kyle.
He's 6 years old. He should be tired. Right, Bruce? Thought
Yes,
so.
but you said he's a pity, right? Or what is he?
A Stafford.
He's a Staffordshire Terrier.
Yeah, dude. He's gonna be a puppy. No matter how old he is, he's gonna exhibit puppy behavior for a very long time. Because terriers are like that, dude. He's gonna be like 12 by the time he settles down.
He's gonna be dead.
One foot into the grave is like, I'm gonna lay
I'm
down
telling
for
you,
a
man.
bit.
I've had several terriers, and several of which were Pits and Staffords, and they acted like puppies for a really long time.
Yeah, he just wants attention. So yeah, definitely recommend Fate. The Fate series is really good, especially if you like action anime. They usually don't get too bad with fan service. There's some moments, but it's really a lot of it's about the characters, about the war itself, and just the fighting going on. And for the most part, they're all very well done animation style because the budget is huge for Fate. So highly recommend it.
I think it all came out of a cheap porn game.
Yeah, I think all of that came out of an edoge. That's awesome. So moving forward, besides that, also fantastic action thing that we saw Kingsman: The Golden Circle a couple days ago. Well, while Jonathan was here, he's actually watched it with us. Really good movie. I was expecting pretty much what it was, just to be another kind of nothing too deep, just a lot of action, really cool scenes and stuff like that. And that's pretty much exactly what it was. If you liked the first one, you'd love the second one. And it was awesome. It was shot so well. The choreography and the fighting and everything about
choreography,
whatever. Everything about it.
Choreography, like some retarded kid.
It was an awesomely shot movie. It defined badassery in the way that some of these scenes were, and just they always were one up in themselves. It's like, oh, cool, we got this like town in the middle of the jungle. We need to step up. Okay, now it's guarded by mechanical robot dogs that can rip things apart. Take a step up. Oh, now we got a dude fighting with a lasso that can electrify it. Was it a lasso or a whip? It was a lasso, right?
A whip.
I think the whip electrified, but he had a lasso. We have a whip that can electrify itself. Let's put a dude in a grinder and turn him into actual meat and make it into a burger. Just crazy shit happening the entire film. And it just always went up to stuff. You're always excited to see what's next. What are we going to see next? Even like the last fight scene, I have a briefcase that's a gun that turns into a riot shield. Just crazy stuff. Super spy movie. Awesome gadgets.
It's supposed to be like a comedy version of James Bond.
Yeah, and it definitely feels like that 100%. And pretty much everything about it. There was like one scene that felt like a little overboard. But for the most part, the rest of the movie was fantastic. The soundtrack, everything about it was really good. And I genuinely was not on the edge of my seat, but I enjoyed every second of it. We were all sitting there watching it as a family. So, and I'm thinking games was pretty much just Assassin's Creed. Not much else. There really isn't much going on right now in games. We're waiting for next year to kind of get kick into play with Monster Hunter World and stuff like that. The beta is actually going on right now, and sadly it's all the same shit, so there's really nothing new there to explore. But I think it would be cool if you could actually make stuff and craft and keep all that stuff, but they don't let you, so there's really nothing else to do besides hunt the harder monsters, which they purposely make difficult with the time limit and stuff, so it's almost impossible to hunt them. But I'm excited for that game. I think it's going to be really good. I hope that a lot of people... Go ahead.
I was going to say, they have YouTube videos of people that have succeeded, of course.
Oh, yeah. People always find a way. I'm sure there's a way of capturing it. So, but yeah, not much has been going on in gaming. So we're here. That's why we're going to be talking about Star Wars today. Give you all our opinions. It will, in fact, be a spoiler talk. We're going to be talking about multiple key elements in the movie. So if you have not seen it, you would have known going into the video because I'll have it in the title. But if you have not seen this, or you have not, or if you just don't give a shit, a lot of people just don't give a shit. We will be discussing key elements in the movie when we do get into that after we get through the rest of our stuff. So again, I'm glad you both can join me. All you out there tuning in, I'm glad you could stop by, listen to us ramble about stupid shit for 2 hours. We really appreciate it. So let's move on into our housekeeping segment real quick. Talk about some ways you can connect with us. We do, in fact, have a Discord. If you want to come say hi to the hosts, stop by, drop a dank meme. We'd really appreciate it.
I'm all about those fucking memes.
Caitlin's all about the dank memes. If you have anything that we talk about, maybe something we say that's kind of polarizing about Star Wars or whatever, and you want to discuss with us, feel free to leave a comment. You could also do that through Discord. If you like our content, feel free to subscribe on the podcasting service you're listening to. If you want to see more of us, we do have a YouTube channel that we do put Let's Plays on. I'm currently doing a Let's Play of Fade to Silence, which is the new THQ Nordic Early Access survival game. We also have a Twitter at ThoughtPatrolPD. You can get updates on what we're doing, and if you really like us, you want some brownie points, feel free to leave an iTunes review. Give us some constructive criticism. We'd really appreciate it, and it will also get read on the podcast, so be careful what you say. So, man, that was a lot.
Because we're so careful about what we say.
Because we give a shit about what we say. Cut to me reading porn on the podcast. I was talking to another podcast that I listen to, the host from it, and they're like, "You read porn on your podcast?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, one of their hosts is like, "Man, I wish I thought of something creative like that a long time ago."
Yeah, right.
No, I swear to God, you could check the VOD. It was that. And those guys I are talking to were the awesome guys at the Thought Patrol Gaming. It's Obvious Gaming podcast. Awesome bunch of dudes. Really cool guys.
Fine AF.
Yeah, they are. I would bang all of them in a row if possible. And I'm glad Caitlyn approved. She saw one of their hosts, Jacob's booty, and did approve of that. So that is good. It was a fine booty indeed.
Very fine.
Should I be worried?
No, dude.
Wait till we get to Star Wars. Oh my God.
Wait, what? Wait
till we get to Star Wars.
Okay. All right. So, again, that's housekeeping out of the way. We're going to move on to our game segment, which we are out of porn to read. So we're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break for now.
Some sort of sicko fucking fan fiction bullshit, I would have joined you.
So we're going to move on to, we're actually going to do an Urban Riptionary. I did not have a lot of time today, so I could not find a story. So we're going to do a little Urban Riptionary real quick. If you have not heard of Urban Riptionary before, that we've done on the podcast, basically I take a word from Urban Dictionary. I'm going to pull it. I'm going to read the word, and we're going to have a 20 questions. Caitlyn, you can't look We're gonna
I'm not looking.
We're gonna have 20 questions. She's sitting right next to me. Of what the word might be, and we got to try and figure it out. But I think we only used 10 questions. I don't remember. So I'm gonna read the word. Can't look away for a second.
I'm playing Stardew Valley.
I don't trust you. Look away.
I am. Oh my god.
Thank you. So we have a Tennessee ass plum. All right. So we're gonna start with 20 questions. I'm gonna have Caitlyn go first.
Is it a place?
Is it a place? It is not a place.
Okay.
So that is one. What about you, Shawn?
Does it actually have to do with asses?
There is an ass involved, indeed.
Oh, so it's an action.
It is an action. Look at you.
Oh, thanks for that freebie, Kyle.
I mean, it was already there. I just confirmed it. It is an action. So what do you got, Keon?
What's the word?
Tennessee ass plum.
Is it a sex position?
It is not a sex position.
Fuck.
Well, I'm trying to cover the damn screen.
It's okay. I'm looking away. You can go.
I don't trust you, bitch.
I'm looking at the window. I'm looking in the wrong direction, you idiot.
No, I wouldn't consider it a sex position. It's an action, but it is sexual because the ass is involved. All right, so that was 3. What's the 4th one? What do you got, Shawn?
Does it involve inserting something into the anus?
There is anus insertion, so that is correct.
Is it putting a plum in someone's anus?
Yeah, you do put a plum up a butt. That is true. So that was 6.
Wait, right. So...
There's more to it, though. You probably have half of it.
Half of
There's
it.
no way in hell we're ever going to get these
shit!
questions.
Oh my god damn it! The time was going, you fuck.
What are you shitting?
She's playing Stardew Valley, like always, and she just had the time of the day just going, and she didn't pause the game.
I wasn't doing anything. Wasting
Okay, so we have a plum, an ass, it's an action, and it's sexual.
What's the word?
Tennessee ass plum.
If it's on Urban Dictionary, it's sexual.
Yeah, 80% of the time.
Is it your turn, Shawn? Yes.
Yeah, it's your turn, Shawn.
Silence.
He's pondering. He's trying to figure something out.
Does it require a special location or special?
There's a Okay, I'm going to answer the question entirely. It involves a haystack, but that's your location. I'm trying to help you guys out because this is difficult.
Is it sex in a barn?
I wouldn't.
Is this the one with the pie?
A pie.
Damn, how do you know this one? There is pie well, I guess kind of there's pie involved, very minimally.
I told you before, I have friends that pride themselves on knowing all of Urban Dictionary's content before Urban Dictionary puts it on Urban Dictionary. Like these people know what Dirty Sanchez was when they're 6.
So what is it, Shawn? You got an answer for me then? So we know there's a plum.
All of it. It's something about you stick your thumb in the fruit and then you shove it in your ass or in their ass. And then you say you like pie or some shit. That's all I fucking remember. All
right, that was close enough. I'll give it to you.
It doesn't make any sense at all. That's not the kind of thing we would have ever guessed.
I'll give it to you.
If I'm remembering it correctly, that's not that's probably one of the most ridiculous things I've heard of.
I'll give it to you. So basically,
is it the pie thing? Oh god.
Yeah, we have a Tennessee ass plum. This is we're going to set the scene here. You're laying in a haystack. Someone grabs a plum, puts it on their thumb, shoves up the anus, and twists. They take it out, lick it, and declare they are ready for pie. What type of pie, we may never know. It may vary based on location, but this was created by Caitlyn.
Not
last name has a boner, a.k.a. Slutty Pineapple.
Wonderful.
So, I'm going to give that a thumbs up. We always give that thumbs up.
Who doesn't like a girl whose name is Slutty Pineapple?
Exactly. And as we always do, I'm going to pull a couple from our alphabetical list here. We have here, you pick one, Caitlyn. We got Tennessee Abortion, Tennessee Alarm Clock, Tennessee Angry Smurf, Tennessee Backdoor.
Let's do Tennessee Bo Jiggly.
Jiggly.
Right there.
The Bo Jiggly.
Yeah.
All right, Tennessee Bo Jiggly. We have when a girl's vagina goes inside your penis. What?
No, right there.
Oh, God.
Perfectly well
My mind
before.
immediately tried to picture it, and then it recoiled, but the recoil was too late.
I can't actually picture that. Okay, whatever. Preferably while on the floor of a meth lab or a log cabin.
Why is it a Bo Jiggly?
Well, I don't know, a Bo Jiggly. Okay, when I get my
these words used to symbolize things that were theoretically possible, but things that nobody would want to do.
Yeah, wait, I have a
Read that
sentence.
one. Read it.
Like impossible shit.
When I have a sentence here, when I get my biatch to Tennessee Bo Jiggly, it makes my jiggle wiggle. So maybe that's where the name comes from.
It makes my jiggle wiggle.
And this is by F the N word. I'm Ron Weasley. So there you go. Fantastic.
I'm Ron
Okay,
Weasley.
one more, Caitlyn. Pull one more from here. We get Tennessee Banjo in the casket.
Let's do Choo Choo Train.
Tennessee Choo
Second
Choo
one from the
Train.
bottom.
Okay, cool.
She's trying to pick out like the most harmless sounding.
Yeah, and then they're not harmless.
Okay, so we have a Tennessee Choo Choo Train, which is fisting a man or woman above your head with both hands, rapidly inserting one fist and removing it before inserting the other.
Wait, above your head?
Yeah, so they'll sit above your head, probably crouching, and you almost like
it's like a punching bag.
Yeah, you almost like fist of the North Star, their vagina, kind of like like up their cooter. And for a sentence, we have I gave
This is man or woman. It doesn't have to be a vagina.
whatever, you can put it up an ass. Although ass would be much more difficult. It says I gave Stephanie a ride on the Tennessee Choo Choo Train last night, and this is by the get out of here. This is by the Nightman Cometh. I don't want to get a Tennessee Choo Choo ride from the Nightman. So
Butt mud.
that was
Let me see that one.
oh, okay. One more. This is Tennessee Butt Mud, and it's just a really bad coffee.
Thank God.
Sentence: this is the worst coffee I've ever tasted. What is this Tennessee Butt Mud? So apparently it's under the category religion. That all got there, but hey, why
That's
not?
gonna be my nickname for everything now.
Tennessee
Just
Butt Mud.
Just call me Butt Mud.
Oh, Tennessee Butt Mud. Reminds me of Caitlyn today. We were coming out of Publix. We went to go buy some deodorant, some chips, blah blah blah. And Caitlyn just like we're walking back to the car, and Caitlyn, I'm like looking at this really nice Corvette, and I'm like, man, this car's really nice. Caitlyn's like, yeah, and then she points at the license plate and just says nut, and that's like the last half of the last three letters of the license plate is nut. And she just like everything stops, and she's like nut, and I'm like, okay, Caitlyn.
I was like nut. Oh my gosh.
So.
And this is why I
Jesus.
love you.
So that was our
That's so
Urban
funny.
Riptionary
And
segment.
then Kyle's like, the first half should be butt.
Yeah, butt nut.
But
That'd be a perfect license
And this
plate.
is why I love Kyle.
So we're going to move on to our box office tops now that our game segment's out of the way. And so we're going to basically look over this last weekend. Today is the 24th of December, Christmas Eve. And we're going to look over movies for the last weekend. I said that twice. So number one, for December 22nd to the 24th of 2017, we have
can
number
you
one.
guess?
Yeah.
What number
Everyone
one
give me a
is?
quick guess. What do you think number one might be?
Something that makes me want to cry.
Why?
He did not like this film.
Oh, okay.
This was Star Wars The Last Jedi, sitting with a weekend gross of $68 million, sitting at a total gross of $365 million
Jeez.
on its second week.
Can I have some of that? Like 5%?
Yeah.
Not even like
1%.
We're at the point now where Disney can package shit in a box and people will fucking go see it if it has Star Wars.
The next Deadpool is going to be shit in a box. What are you talking about?
They said they weren't going to touch it. We'll see what happens. At number two.
Fuck, no, I
It'll be
don't
the
trust
first
them.
R-rated Disney movie.
No, it would be.
No, Disney owns Touchstone Pictures. Touchstone did a shitload of R-rated movies for him
Rip.
a long time ago.
Does that mean
I don't know
Deadpool
if
is a Disney
Touchstone
princess?
is active anymore.
Yes.
Deadpool's a
Oh
Disney
god,
princess.
I hope he makes himself a Disney princess.
That would
before
be
they buy it so
fantastic.
can't
They
take it
have to
away.
make fun of Disney. They have to. I think it's a little bit too late. It's probably already done before this whole deal
Well,
went
he
underway.
started doing it, but
Yeah. You know who else
I'm
are?
pretty sure
You know who else are Disney
information
princesses now?
Me?
The aliens from Alien are Disney princesses now.
What?
Yeah, they are. So every
Princess
alien,
Xenomorph.
yeah, just cut to a xenomorph bursting out of a
Fox.
chest, and it has a little tiara
Crown,
on its
yeah,
head.
a little
Yeah, it's a
crown
Disney
on it.
princess. Aw, I need a movie like that. Give Pixar, get on it. So at number 2 we have
She pops out of somebody's fucking
wanna see,
stomach
like,
with
so
a
many
princess
movies.
tiara on.
yeah. At number 2, what?
Or she
I haven't
fucking
seen, like, half
eats
of
Snow
them.
White.
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, that'd be cool.
I still want to see Coco.
At number 2 we have Jumanji.
Jumanji.
We got Jumanji at
What
number
are you,
2.
from Jersey?
Yeah. At number 2, we have Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, sitting at $34 million with a total gross of $50 million. In its first week, it's sitting at a budget of $90 million. At number 3, I want to see all these movies too. At number 3, we have Pitch.
I wanted to see Jumanji.
Excuse me. At number 3, we have Pitch Perfect 3, sitting at $20 million. Again, in its first week, so that's its total gross as well, with a budget of $45 million. At number 4, we have The Greatest Showman, sitting at $8 million, with a total gross of $13 million, sitting at a budget of $84 million. Also in its first week. At number 5, we have Ferdinand, sitting at $7 million, with a total gross of $26 million, with a budget of $111 million, sitting at 2 weeks. Those are your top 5. I really want to see Jumanji, Pitch Perfect, and Greatest Showman.
And Coco.
And Coco, yeah.
And
Which one
The
was
Shape of
Greatest
Water.
Showman?
Greatest Showman was the musical about,
With
like, the
Hugh
circus
Jackman.
with Hugh Jackman.
My dad.
Oh, hell yeah, I want to see that. Musicals are awesome.
Yeah, it looks really good.
I want to see
I'm
Darkest
super excited.
Hour.
Darkest Hour. What's that
I want
about?
to see Thor. I want to see Murder on the Orient Express.
I want to see Downsizing.
Oh, yeah, Murder on the Orient Express, for sure.
I haven't seen like half.
That's
these
like
fucking
number
movies.
19, and it's in its
How
7th
would you
week.
suck my ass? Okay.
I'm sorry. Maybe when that comes to DVD, that should be soon.
I love
have-
it when you talk dirty.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Talk dirty to me.
Oh, shut up.
Oh, God.
So,
Now I'm regretting it.
What are you doing? Were you downloading illegally?
yeah, illegal music.
Oh,
Well, actually,
shit.
they said there's a band that gave out its music for free.
Oh, that's nice. All right, so those were your top 5 for the week. Again, Star Wars, as everyone should have expected, sitting at number 1. So really excited to see Jumanji, though. We're gonna go see Greatest Showman as a family, so that's pretty exciting. And I do want to see Pitch Perfect. I like the other 2. I thought they were pretty good. And I'm a big fan of
Yeah, Kyle-
acapella stuff. I think that's
Kyle
really cool.
loves What's her face? Main girl.
Oh, the main girl's pretty hot. What's her name? We're gonna fucking find out. So
Are you
I
talking
know
about,
for my spank bank. Wait, Pitch Perfect.
Why do I keep trying to say Anna Faris? It's not Anna Faris.
No,
Oh, jeez.
it's Anna Kendrick.
Anna Kendrick.
Anna
That's her name.
Kendrick, that's it.
I was like,
Yeah.
it's
Anna
Anna
Kendrick,
something.
yeah. She did this really shitty movie that horribly
Whoa!
scarred me a little bit.
Oh my god!
Like, I love Anna Kendrick, and then she did this shitty movie, and I haven't recovered from
What's
it
the
since.
shitty movie?
I don't know. He doesn't remember. All right,
You don't
It
remember?
had
Bruce, please.
Over this way.
Robinson something Robinson in it, and it had that crazy little Chinese
Julia
guy who's
Robinson?
also a doctor.
That's Julia Roberts.
No,
Shit,
it
I
had the Chinese dude from Hangover, and it oh shit, I'm getting my ass kicked. It had the Chinese dude from Hangover, and it had Dwayne Robinson? Robinson.
I don't know.
That
I don't
I
know.
like him. It should have been fucking amazing, and where the whole thing was it poked fun at the Rapture. But I'm very iffy on stuff that attacks religion. It really needs to be done in a way that isn't attacking believers. It's just saying, like, I think that no matter how sacred something is, you need to challenge it a little bit always. I think that no matter how faithful you are, you should always challenge your own beliefs because that makes you stronger in what you believe. But this particular movie basically was horribly insulting to anyone that has a faith of any kind. It happened to use Christianity to attack, but I don't know. I'm really weird about doing movies that attack religion. Like there's a certain way that I can handle it.
Yeah, as long as it's not like deprecating, kind of, in a way.
It was hateful. It was absolutely fucking hateful.
All right, we're looking.
When a
We're
movie's
on the
hateful, that's not funny to me.
movies and shows. Wait, known for. Okay, she was in
I think
Trolls.
it was
I don't
called
even fucking
the
know that.
Rapture.
I thought that said. I thought that said "bitch perfect."
Was it recent?
Well, how recent was it? You think? Was it before or after Pitch Perfect 2?
What?
The movie we're talking about.
Oh no, this movie's like 4 or 5 years old. I think it's like
Rapture Palooza. That sounds about right.
That's it. I really thought it'd be a lot funnier than it was. It had some decent moments and it had a great cast and it should have been amazing, but instead it was just.
It has a 5.2 out of 10.
Hateful.
Jesus.
Got him.
Yeah.
Craig Robinson.
Craig Robinson, that's it. Okay. Yeah.
God damn it, Tyler.
The Chinese dude was God.
It's Tyler's name, Buck Naked.
It was really disappointing.
Oh,
it sounds pretty disappointing.
Can you stop copying me? Can you stop copying me? All right.
But that was when I was like, I for that whole movie, it was like the first time I was sitting there going, I wasn't like, man, Anna Kendrick's really hot. The whole time I was like, man, I just wish she would shut up.
Man, man, why'd you take this role?
Hey, yeah, money's money, man. The other thing. All right, so.
This is true.
Sadly, our final week of 31 Days with Thought Patrol podcast will be next week. Because I forgot to tell Cam to watch Jingle All the Way.
Fucker.
And Shawn was not able to get to it because of streaming issues. So, our 31... Don't do that. What are you doing? Get the lint roller off the monitor.
I remember it, but I'd prefer to have it fresh on the monitor.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This way, please.
I'm sorry. So, if you guys did watch it, I entirely apologize.
But Kyle's failing you once again.
I didn't do shit.
I blame it on him.
Watched the movie.
No, I blame it on him.
Keep those thoughts and opinions fresh for next week, or save it to watch again. It's only an hour and a half of film. It's not too long. And it's pretty simple. It's nothing deep going on there. So we'll talk about it next week. And we'll have our Christmas be a little bit longer this year as we move into the next year. So, looking at
nothing.
What is that?
Nothing.
So, our review corner will be nothing for this week. And we're going to move on to our news before we move on to the main topic.
Asshole.
Nice.
Slap some gravy on it and call that dinner.
What the fuck? Sir, I'd have
Shawn.
to ask you to stop.
Oh, Shawn.
Let's not talk about my sister's butthole that way, please. I'd appreciate that.
The worrisome part is that's what he draws the line at. Of all the crazy shit that we've said,
Butthole is sacred, Shawn. I'll have to ask you.
There.
You leave the butthole alone. It's sacred. That sounded weird in itself.
My poo-poo goes out.
Yeah, that just got.
What was that? There was a tweet.
Did you just do something like my poo-poo in a baby voice?
The poo-poo.
You
ever seen that tweet?
They
that,
eat
that
their
vibe?
poo-poo. They lick it like ice cream.
Oh god, the cuteness in all the wrong places.
Oh wait, I gotta find this one tweet. That's from Obama.
They eat the poo-poo.
They eat their poo-poo. All right. There's no way in hell this is real, but it's like a picture. It shows a tweet from Obama. It says, "Call my face a poo-poo platter because I'd be eating Michelle's doo-doo batter."
Oh my god.
And then the reply is, "How do I delete a tweet?" That's probably some inspect HTML or inspect element going on right there, and they just changed the word.
Nobody asked.
And they just changed the words in the tweet.
My mom was like, "That's disgusting."
Yeah, I brought that up at Flanagan's.
We were eating dinner.
Well, I mean, if you're going to bring that up, it should definitely be while eating dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Only the hard-hitting topics.
What is it?
I want Chinese.
Dude, me too.
What do we have for dinner here?
Pizza.
Fuck, I had pizza.
It had to have been good if you're remembering it that solid.
So
you think Cold Stone's open?
Cold Stone is open till 10.
I want to buy a Cold Stone and just stick that shit in my garage.
Damn straight, dude. And then you kidnap someone and make them work there.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, dude. No, I'll pay them. Shit, if I'm rich enough to fucking own a Cold
I'll pay
Stone,
him. Shit.
you'll just be my personal ice cream servers.
Yeah. Then you don't even need to go to the Cold Stone. Just have it
assistance.
Yeah, exactly.
Assistance.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll buy all the shit you want.
Exactly.
Including other things.
Let's move on to our Let's move on to our news real quick. So, a couple small things.
Dark, wonderful places we can go with that.
Literally nothing big happened this week. It's been pretty tame in gaming. So
what?
The first article we have is Call of Duty World War II passes $1 billion in worldwide sales. Also, it sits at number 1 game of the year in sales in North America based on revenue. This is by Eddie Macic of GameSpot. We have after 2016.
Eddie!
Yeah, our boy Eddie. Hit me up. After 2016's Call of Duty Infinite Warfare underperformed in the marketplace, Activision turned things around with Call of Duty World War II this year. The game's initial launch sales far outpaced Infinite Warfare, and now Activision has announced that Call of Duty World War II's global sales have amounted more than $1 billion already. In the year-end press release celebrating its achievements this year, Activision said Call of Duty World War II and Destiny 2 are number 1 and number 2 games of 2017 in North America based on revenue.
Ass.
Activision added that Call of Duty has now been the top selling. Don't scream. You're gonna blow the headphones of all the people that
I hate Call of Duty.
I still hate it.
Activision added that Call of Duty has now been the top-selling game series based on revenue for 8 of the past 9 years. Holy fucking shit!
That's
people,
ridiculous.
Play better games.
I know. There's a world out there. Of
You know what it
games
is?
to play.
As we've said a million times before on this podcast, there's 2 types of gamers. And it sounds so elitist and bullshit, but it's how it is. We got the casual community, and then there's like a more hardcore, like this is like part of my life community. All the casual people pick up Call of Duty. It's something that's quick, it's fun, you can do it with your friends, and it just allows for you to do something real quick at the end of your day after you worked a 9 to 5 and hated your life for the past 9 hours.
You know why it makes so much money?
How much?
Because all the dads out there play it.
All the dads out there.
Roasted!
Damn! Got you, fuckers.
It's something that, like, the dads that go to the office every day, they get their office buddies.
What does them being dads have to do with anything?
Because dads
Shawn,
don't play anything
Call of
else.
Duty?
Audience, like the number 1 playing audience for Call of Duty, middle schoolers and like 9th graders and shit.
No, it's old men.
I think
it's like people in their
Stop screaming
50s.
into the microphone. Jesus Christ.
I'm very passionate about this subject.
Oh my god. I don't even know where the fuck I was.
I wasn't even done, my guy.
Well, I need to finish my article first.
Okay.
Hey, I started it before you rudely interrupted me by screaming ass. Call of Duty World War II is the biggest console digital launch in Activision publishing history. As for Destiny 2, it's also Activision's publishing's biggest PC release ever based on units sold. Additionally, Activision confirmed that Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy is the top-selling remaster collection in PS4 history. Holy shit.
Activision owns Crash?
Yeah.
Oh, God damn it.
Call of Duty World War II is the number 1 top-grossing console game of the year in North America, and Destiny 2 is number 2. End quote. Activision Publishing CEO Eric Hirschberg said, quote, that means Call of Duty has been the number... Can I help you? Can I finish my article? What's wrong with Eric Hirschberg? What's wrong with
that name? Hirschberg.
Should get him to adopt you, Caitlyn.
Has Caitlyn been drinking?
I probably. See, we don't monitor
I feel like this. Don't get me wrong. This is one of my favorite versions of Caitlyn ever. But
yeah, the giggly one.
Hirschberg.
It's probably because it's past 8 o'clock
like
and that's
iceberg.
Caitlin's. What the fuck? It's like iceberg.
It's like the Titanic.
It's like the Titanic was an iceberg.
Yeah.
What?
I love the just laughing. Yeah.
The intuitive leaps that she's making here.
Okay. I don't even know. Again, I lost where I was. Thank you to our players for incredible passion and engagement, and thank you to our talented, committed teams all across the globe to make incredible results like this happen. Again, Eddie Macic of GameSpot. You guys got the general gist of what's going on.
Poor guy. He just rushes through it. He's like, I give up.
We've lost her, everybody. Don't slam the table. Come on now.
I'm crying, guys. Okay, keep going. Don't mind me.
Okay. For our second article, we have PS4/Nintendo Switch My Hero Academia game coming west. We had a first trailer that was released. It's also releasing on Xbox One and PC, which is surprising. Bandai Namco has been recently stepping into Xbox with a lot of the titles that it adapts over in the States, which is cool. So Bandai Namco recently unveiled the new game based on the popular My Hero Academia anime/manga series titled My Hero Academia One's Justice. The game is in development for Nintendo Switch and PS4, but until now it wasn't clear whether or not it would only be released in Japan, as was the case with the series' previous title, My Hero Academia Battle for All, on 3DS. Unfortunately, Bandai Namco has confirmed that the upcoming My Hero Academia game will indeed release in the West, and in addition to PS4 and Switch, it will be available on Xbox One and PC, tentatively called My Hero Game Project. The title is an action-adventure game that's slated to arrive sometime in 2018. Here's how Bandai Namco describes the title. Oh, did I say who wrote this? This is by Kevin Knezevic, my bad. Quote, based on the popular manga and animation series My Hero Academia, the My Hero Game Project will feature the superpowers named quirks and the clash between superheroes and supervillains. Players will be able to enjoy massive stage destruction on the ground and in the air using walls and buildings surrounding the stage.
Like Smash.
So it's like Tekken.
Oh.
No, it's more like Tekken because it's 3D. Or like, no, it's from what I've seen from gameplay, it looks more like Tekken. So definitely super awesome. They're going to have all the English VAs back for the show. And the English dub for My Hero was pretty good. I'm surprised. I watched a good portion of it in English with my boss at work because he's not a big fan of the subtitles. He doesn't like reading, especially like in the middle of the night. We've been working. You're tired. It's understandable. So we've watched it dubbed, and I enjoy Deku's voice, and it's pretty good. It's not too bad.
One for all.
No, he actually sounds like just like what Deku would probably sound like. He doesn't sound like a little bitch. He sounds pretty good. I definitely recommend if you don't like subs and you're a fan of dubs, My Hero Academia is a very good dub, which is very nice because we don't always get that, especially when Funimation steps in. Sometimes they like to
just ruin it.
Whew, they're just not good sometimes. So that's definitely very interesting. We have confirmed news that we are getting this My Hero game in the West, which is awesome, and it's going to be, we don't have to import it or do any other kind of crazy bullshit to play it, which is awesome. And it makes sense. We have a pretty big following in the States for Boku no Hero, and I'm going to call it Boku no Hero because My Hero Academia is it's a mouthful. Yeah, Boku no Hero.
I didn't even know it was My Hero Academia at first. I only called it Boku no Hero until somebody called it otherwise.
Yeah.
And then I started watching it on Crunchyroll.
Yeah. So let's move on to we got two more articles real quick. We all know the Switch has been kicking ass, selling a bunch of units, even with Christmas around the corner. Oh God, please don't play an ad. Okay, it's muted.
Wii Part 2.
So they're continuing to support it, and now we have news that the Nintendo Switch will be getting its first Dragon Quest game in the West in early 2018.
What about Smash? Where's Smash?
So we have Dragon Quest Builders will arrive in February. This is by Kevin Knezevic of GameSpot, as always. Jeez. Coughing all over the place. Square Enix has announced the release date for the Nintendo Switch version of Dragon Quest Builders. The Dragon Quest Sandbox spin-off arrives on Nintendo's hybrid console in early February and comes with a handful of exclusive new items and features. Dragon Quest Builders first released for PS4 and Vita in 2016. Oh, this isn't a new game. I thought it was a new game.
I didn't know it was on Vita. I gotta get that shit.
Unlike a traditional Dragon Quest title, it was envisioned as...
The Vita's fucking great. You don't know what you're talking about.
It was envisioned...
Vita's an awesome system.
Hello? It was envisioned... You want to go? I mean, I'll take you outside, mister.
Take you outside and smack you on the bottom. It was envisioned as... It was envisioned as the series' answer to Minecraft. I'm starting to care less and less about this game. The game employs a very blocky visual style, and your primary objective is to find materials to craft buildings and other objects in order to rebuild the world of Alefgard. The backdrop for the first ever...
play like it Minecraft, though. It's actually got story and quests.
You okay, Caitlyn?
I need some water. I need some water.
It is... You have been drinking.
What? I am not.
The upcoming Switch version features... What?
Stop laughing at me.
Oh, jeez, stop
I
screaming.
am perfectly sober right now.
I want you guys to keep account and put in the comments about how many times Caitlyn blows out your eardrums in this podcast.
It'll be a lot.
She's pulling some
Kyle
high
wanted to
decibels.
start talking in the mic. So.
I mean, you don't have to scream into the mic. You speak into the mic.
Keep going.
I'm going. So yeah, Dragon Quest Builders. It's coming for the Switch on February 9th. And yeah. It's right around the corner. Again, news has not been anything special. Finally, probably the biggest story for this week, we have loot box odds now have to be disclosed for iOS games. You will now be able to see the chances of getting a certain type of item. This is by
savage.
Alex Newhouse of GameSpot. Loot boxes have arguably been the biggest controversy in gaming this year, especially with regards to the boxes in Star Wars Battlefront 2. It seems that Apple has taken note of the backlash as it's implemented more stringent regulations on loot box systems. Apple updated its App Store requirements recently, adding a clause that forces developers to disclose loot box odds. Now, games with random rewards available for purchase must tell players the chances of getting each type of item in a loot box. This is notable because the US currently does not federally require disclosure of odds, although several countries in Asia do require it. Up until now, unless developers voluntarily gave the information, players have had no idea how likely they are to receive especially rare items in any one loot box. Although this obviously doesn't regulate console games like Destiny 2 and Battlefront 2, there are still several big-name mobile titles that will presumably fall under the requirement. Hearthstone, for example, may now have to show its card pack odds for Western audiences, something Blizzard already did for Chinese audiences earlier this year. Loot boxes are almost certainly here to stay, but greater transparency is good as it gives players a better idea of what they're spending money on. Hopefully this trend will continue and eventually apply to console games as well. So it's another step in, it's a small step, but hey, it's a step in the right direction. Transparency is always good, especially between a creator and the consumer. So now we have disclosed odds for iOS games. So if you're big into the mobile... Bruce just slamming his head against the table to sabotage
I'm trying
us.
To, stop it. Really.
We have, so now, again, if you're big in the mobile games, now you have more of an idea of what you are spending your money on, the chances that you get. Because they could have a rare item sitting at 1% in a loot box, and we would have no idea in a console game or a PC game, because they don't have to tell us. And they could leave it like that for years until there's some way discovered in a way or another, which isn't entirely possible in console games. It's easier for PC because you could always go through game code, like game files and code and shit like that. But it's difficult, and they're not federally required, as I said. So again, transparency is always good, a step in the right direction, albeit small. So that was the last article, probably the biggest thing that happened this last week, and that's all for the news for this week. Again, nothing special. So this podcast itself, it depends how long we're talking about Star Wars. God damn it, Bruce. What are you doing? Huh? We're going to get into that talk now. And we've all seen it. And like I said prior, this is a spoiler talk. This whole review, we will give reviews at the end. When we're done talking, we're going to bring about what we liked, disliked, what we think about the direction of Star Wars under Disney, and the way that it's going, either fears we may have or optimism that we may have. I kept trying to say optimization for some reason. So,
I'll have the mind of like a 2-year-old.
So, I'm going to start with Caitlyn. She's going to present her ideas on what she thought about Star Wars, and we'll go from there. Add things, remove things. So, Caitlyn. We saw this, yesterday?
Yes.
What did you think about this Star Wars film as someone that's not particularly a gigantic fan? And, what do you think? You knew we were talking about this.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. I mean, again, I stated
you're not
a big fan.
or anything.
Yeah, I'm not like a huge fan of Star Wars.
Have you seen have you seen the original trilogy, all of them?
No.
No? Okay, that's completely fine. You just came with us to see it. You like Item Driver and Isaac.
Oscar Isaac. Oh my.
Oscar Isaac, which are
so beautiful.
Oscar Isaac is Poe Dameron, and then Adam Driver is Kylo Ren. So every other couple minutes when they pop on screen, I hear like a whisper, "Oh my god, he's so hot."
No, actually, that's exactly what it was.
That's what it was the entire movie.
It's like,
so.
Oh my god, he's so fine. I was like, oh my god. It's like that scene.
Hey, Vicky. Sorry.
Did you like the bird chest shirtless Adam Driver bit?
Yes. Oh,
I love how that's.
God, that was such
Can you
an
stop playing with the mouth?
I thought it was hilarious.
I love how it's become a meme.
It was so funny because He's like,
Yeah, it's a
he's like,
great
can we not?
meme.
He's like, can we not do this now? He's like, I'm kind of naked.
He's like, dude, if you were here like a couple minutes earlier, my hand would have been on my dick.
That's what I was thinking exactly. I'm sorry, Bruce. That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, he must have been doing
Gotta
something
be careful
naughty.
with this force connection shit, man. You don't want to catch me in an improper time.
So he's like, can we not do this now? That was the funniest line I've ever heard. Anyways, but yeah, I haven't seen all the Star Wars movies, but when I saw the
Force Awakens,
I really enjoyed it. It's like something that you can just kind of jump into, which is why I think everybody really liked it.
it's also because it's for the most part it's a rehash.
How would you suck my ass?
Okay, I'm sorry. Whoa.
I'm not
We're
done.
on the same team here.
Are we? But I, as like someone who's not that big of a Star Wars fan, I really enjoyed it. I know, like, I'm gonna get crucified for that. I gave it like a 9 out of 10 walking out of the theater because I liked it so much. I liked the some of the acting was questionable. That Asian lady,
Rose.
I hate her with a passion. She's a I don't know.
Rose.
She's a terrible. That actress is just terrible. She's like, go, and I'm like,
Don't scream.
she's like, go, and they're like running away. She's like, come on, we gotta go. Like, she just says the most pointless shit ever.
Okay, so what did you think about her story with Finn?
It was fucking stupid. I felt like it was just thrown in there to create some, like, in the next episode, the Rey's gonna be like, oh my god, I love Finn, and then Rose's gonna be like, oh my god, I love Finn, and they're gonna have
They
like
better not fight. There better not
fight
be
over
a
it.
love triangle in the
Yes,
next episode.
yes, that's
I will
Kyle,
crucify somebody.
that last scene where Finn was sitting there with Rose, and then Rey looks over, and she's like,
Oh shit, Kel might be onto something.
I am-
She's paying attention
Kyle, I'm
to
a
the
girl, I watch a lot of dramas, okay, I know where this is going.
If this turns into like a freeform drama, I will lose my shit.
I saw her smile and then immediately flirt with Poe.
Who?
You
Rey?
That's
fuck
what
off.
I thought
You
they were.
fuck off.
Yeah, to me it seems like they're linking Rey with Poe.
No.
We all know it's gonna be Rey and
No.
Kylo. Come on now.
Actually, I think that's what it
Ugh.
I'm telling you though, but that'd be like hate sex. I was talking about this in the Discord.
is.
That'd be the.
What?
I would hate to see something like that because that'd be straight up hate sex.
I don't think they
They
hate
don't really
each
like
other.
it. I don't know. I mean,
No, I don't think they hate. Ow, fuck. I don't think they hate each other.
I don't know.
I don't know. As I was saying, I felt like her story was pointless. Her character was pointless. She had nothing to contribute. She saved Finn. That was about it. That's all she really
Yeah.
did. She fucked him over.
She stopped him from trying to kill himself.
She kind of
Yeah,
like screwed them in a way. That
Well,
whole
they still
thing,
escaped.
the whole thing they went to that casino planet. That there was first of all there was no reason for it. It
Well,
didn't.
They
advance.
had a reason.
They had a reason,
but they didn't capitalize on
but
it.
nothing happened.
And they
from
failed their quest almost instantly.
And then they made everything worse because they found that guy and
A
that
dude
guy
that sold him out.
So there was just no point in her at all. Finn was underused. His character was there for nothing. He didn't do a thing. And I'm really disappointed that they didn't do that much with Finn.
Yeah, I like Finn. I liked his kind of struggle that we saw in Force Awakens of him
Yes.
basically defecting.
Yeah.
Although it wasn't very fleshed out, I like the idea that they planted there.
But they didn't do anything with that going forward.
A lot of
He
this,
killed the lady, the
which was
commander lady.
stupid because it was like a small fight, and then he got lucky, and the ship broke in a part where she happened to be, and she died because he knocked her
BB-8X
over.
I never
Machina.
understood that either because wasn't Rose like sitting behind her? Like wasn't she standing behind her?
She was like off to the side.
Yeah,
she was
but
pinned down by.
that whole area. Like,
It looked like
crumbled.
more of like a square.
and but
opened
then
up.
like in the next scene she was on the thing. The what's it
I
called?
don't know. And then like BB-8 apparently is the most OP droid we've ever come
Yeah,
across,
fuck. He
which
did
is
a-
weird
he
that
did
he was
so
able
much.
to hack a fucking AT walker.
Yeah,
what are the things called?
whatever they
AT-ATs or are those the big ass ones?
ATST. The chicken
ATSTs.
walkers are the ATST.
Now, one thing I can say is I really like some of the changes that we've seen that the First Order have made to like Imperial weaponry. Like I really like those really cool.
Those red soldiers, right?
Well, no, the modified AT-ATs. I think they're called AT-8MTs or something like that. But they're the ones at the end that look like the ones
really
from
cute
Hoth.
ones?
No,
The ones that you throw a rope around their legs, they'll fall.
Yeah, those.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're cute.
I like the changes to them, like how they kind of had these weird spine things on their back, and then that their front. If you look at their front legs, they almost look like fists instead of actual just like flat
hands.
legs. I like the changes that the First Order has made to like the Imperial things because you kind of feel like the universe is actually progressing in a way.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting. So Rose and Finn's whole subplot that they went through ultimately
Stupid.
really didn't do
Bullshit.
anything.
That kiss was bullshit.
That kiss,
like, what was the
kiss
point?
was kind of cringy.
There was no chemistry, and they just kind of like
it was like something
like
they were forcing in.
yeah, they just kind of put some salt on that.
Ultimately, this all kind of goes back. Now we're gonna mercilessly shit on this film because I know Shawn did not like it at all.
I can't wait to hear Shawn.
I enjoyed.
It's gonna take like an hour just to talk.
We'll
about
have
it.
Shawn go last because he probably has the most to say, being the largest fan here, and then we can discuss what he has to say about it after he goes through his points. But the thing I have is that it feels like although this movie was it was shot well and it had cool scenes, there were some cool moments, genuinely cool moments, like the light speed jump through the whole fleet. Always wondered what that would look like, and it's cool how it's contrasted by like all this destruction and then just stark silence, which is really cool. Remember when the whole fleet gets ripped apart? The girl Kamikaze.
Yes.
That was really
That
cool,
was lit.
and it was all silent because it happened in the vacuum of space.
I'm just
which
really
is
mad
cool.
that lady didn't think about that. Like,
Again, a
15
lot of
minutes
this is
earlier.
all that it feels like a Deus Ex Machina. The whole film, the way it was written, which is my biggest problem. I thought the movie was shot well and it was enjoyable, but as Shawn has, me and Shawn were talking about, and he bring it up when he goes in depth to it. The writing was not good in this film. I went into the film, again, not being a gigantic fan. I've seen the original trilogy. I've seen the prequels. I watched Rogue One, obviously, but I haven't gone into the expanded lore. I haven't touched any of that. And seeing this as just a movie, it was not a well-written film. There were multiple things that could have been avoided by either simply disclosing information or by doing something that was available earlier. Okay, so say we're running from a gigantic fleet-destroying ship, and we're trying to stay out of their cannon's range, right? We're going to run out of gas soon, so we have another team of people going to find a coder so we could break in and turn off their thing so we could light speed and they can't track us through light speed.
and
right?
if you really think about it, that's the whole point of the movie. That's it. Nothing
Yep.
is really achieved. They just
Yeah, again, like
feels-
Jonathan, I was talking to Jonathan
I
about
wasn't
it.
done.
and
You keep fucking interrupting
I was
Kyle.
talking first, though, and you interrupted me.
Yeah, but I was talking first, and then you interrupted me, and then you started talking about your fucking opinion.
This can go forever.
Go ahead.
Like Jonathan, I was talking to Jonathan about it, and he said this felt like a filler episode.
I agree,
Almost.
100%.
Nothing is ultimately changed besides there's some good character. I mean, not really good, but there's some character development. Kylo kind of goes further to his end. Rey goes further to her end of their respective sides of the Force. Some people die. I wish I wish they committed to more people dying, kind of. I think Leia surviving, although she kind of played a pseudo role. Actually, no, she didn't really do anything later
She
in the
didn't do
film.
shit. She
just
went
kinda
into a
was there.
coma. That was it.
And the thing about it is just commit to it. Let her die. I mean, if they're going for some kind of impact with a death, showing that, hey, these are wars done in the stars, Star Wars, let's commit to fucking death. Let's just not have nameless people dying like random rebels or Star Troopers.
when they were killing off
They killed off everyone
ships.
on the bridge besides Leia.
Leia
They killed Akbar.
Yeah, they
They
killed
killed
Akbar.
Admiral Akbar. Nobody said shit.
from the
There
earlier
was
films.
nothing. Just
Remember, it's a
Akbar's
trap.
gone.
That's Akbar.
Ha!
That's
Yeah.
Akbar.
Yeah, no, they
Akbar.
killed him.
He's dead. And they all
They
it
didn't
is,
say-
He was.
all
She was
it is
sitting
is
next to
saying-
the fucking window.
it was
trap.
all it was a reference. They're all dead. But let's have hope. And we don't have time to now I can understand we don't have time to lament on them.
Yep.
We're in a fight. That pseudo makes sense. But I mean we get
Like at
a
least at the end, just like kind
like
of
with
put something
the
in there.
thing with like Leia's pseudo death and then her using the Force. Not only does it, although the way that these movies have progressed, we've changed what the Force is. The Force is no longer a power you harness or something that you train to wield. It's more of a untapped power that exists everywhere. It connects everyone. And that, what are you doing going through my wallet?
Just keep talking.
Just keep talking. And then anyone has the potential to tap into it. And people that are oppressed or in distress are more prone or force sensitive to it, which kind of also retcons the whole midichlorian things of like people of certain bloodlines being more force sensitive than others. And it's just something that everyone can use. Now, how the hell that saved Leia from being killed by forcibly being depressurized and having all the lungs sucked out of your...
No, she was in space for at least like 5 minutes.
But they didn't.
They could have worked the way around that, but I still think the way they did that was shitty. But again,
a lot of it was we need an answer to this, and we need it now. So let's just put it in there, and we'll explain it by the fact that the Force is technically space magic. Hey, how can Luke project his image onto a planet billions of years away for a long time? Space magic. Has this, I don't know, I don't really know, but has this happened before? I don't know. Has someone projected their image before with the Force?
Not in that fashion.
Oh.
I mean, theoretically, anything is possible with the Force. It's a MacGuffin of its own, but it's a MacGuffin that they've always been very careful with how they used it before. Whereas the Force it has been theorized and put into some of the expanded universe materials that almost anything is accomplishable with the Force as long as you think you can do it. So I wouldn't shoot something like that down. It's more how they use this stuff than the fact that they used it that bothers me.
Yeah, I understand. It's like
him projecting himself like that. I could almost see, but the thing is that the Force use has to have limits, or it's not a good plot device. That's why there's always been limits. You can't just fly and shoot unlimited lasers and be immune to bullets and stop light. You know, the Force is something that's supposed to work with your surroundings and through your surroundings, not against them. So, like, stopping blaster bolts and protecting yourself from space, shit like that, is a stretch. Because you work through the natural order of things. Like, for instance, when you're shooting Force lightning, you're harnessing Force energy and projecting it through the air. You're basically creating electricity through the air. You're molding reality by using natural elements. You deflect things because you sense their passage towards you, so you allow your body and you allow the Force to tell you as it's arriving how it's passing through air. You don't see it. The Force, you don't see the bolt coming at you and then move the sword to deflect. Instead, you feel its passage through the air. The Force happens through feeling how everything works together and the energy that binds things together. So they're really pushing it with some of the shit that they're doing. They're making it stronger than it should be, but not stronger than it is. I don't know how else to put it.
I understand.
It's theoretically possible to project yourself like that, because even after death, your intelligence, your sentience can exist within the Force and communicate with people. So I could see it being possible, but I don't know anyone that would abuse the plot device like that except for Disney.
Okay. Again, going back to, so we have,
I don't know.
Another thing, ultimately, that this all kind of this everyone's saying ultimately this all didn't really lead into anything. I agree with for the most part, besides like some character development. A lot of it, like I said earlier, a lot of it was stuff that feels like it was and I've heard this word a lot, a cop-out. We're writing in elements to progress the story without fearing the consequences that may come about of them feeling like they were rushed. So say like, okay, so we're running from these really powerful ship. It's slower than us. I understand that. We're smaller. We're faster. Makes sense. Let's stay out of range of their cannons. Okay. We're running. Let's hide the fact that we have transport ships that we're fueling from everyone else, so everyone can panic and throw the audience for a tizzy. And then let's hide that fact. We'll present it, and then for some reason everyone will get mad about it. But hey, now we're going to leave. And apparently, although we haven't shown any other planets, we somehow did a scan a while ago. We didn't tell any of you because it wasn't important enough at that point, I guess. But hey, we have a completely suitable planet within an arm's distance, or maybe more than an arm's distance. But hey,
that happens to be a retired rebel base.
That happens to
heavily armored.
That happens to be a heavily armored base. That was not this information. It wasn't important. You didn't need to know this before. So we have a team out there trying to get a coder who failed to get a coder, got someone who betrayed them, and ultimately now we're on a base where we didn't even get to the tracker. I mean, we were there, but we were captured. Like, everything that was set into play and that was built up failed and instantly failed. And then now at that point, although it's understandable, hey, sometimes not every plan works out. But in like these situations that feel dire, where there's hundreds of, again, nameless people just dying, and they don't have the balls to commit to killing important people, besides like, again, some side characters here and there. It feels incredibly like a cop-out. It feels like, hey, we need a solution here, but hey, either space magic or magically we have an answer that's within our reach. Let's do it. And it feels just incredibly bad in the sense of a complete story. And if you can, Bruce, what are you doing? And if you can take out like a portion of a film and it almost completely not affect the ending of a film, there's a problem there.
Yeah, what's the point?
What's the point of having that? And I've heard a lot of people that complain about the comedy in it. And although the comedy was a little heavy, I didn't feel like it was overbearing. Although some of the jokes were just dumb, and some scenes were questionable.
Rebel scum.
That was amazing.
That was so loud.
He's like, yes,
that
I'm
was fucking
scum.
retarded.
Rebel scum. I'm like,
giggles. And like the thing with like while they were on the casino planet, BB-8 shooting coins at the dude. He's like, not the coins. It's not like I have a mission and I'm a police officer.
That was funny. Go on.
The porgs I thought were kind of funny. Some of them here and there. And again, like I said, we're going to unmitigatedly shit on this for a bit because it wasn't written well. And especially for, we're seeing a lot of anger is because a lot of fans are diehard fans of this series. A lot of people that have, can you just,
I'm sorry.
that have spent time in investing their knowledge into like outer lore and expanded stuff, which by the way was completely removed from canon by Disney in order to usher in this new stuff that we now have, which isn't as good as a lot of the content that we had prior. And it just angers people. I can see why a lot of people can be mad at the fact that, hey, your favorite Star Wars story that is no longer actually Star Wars. It doesn't exist in this universe. Go fuck yourself, because we're going to make new stuff. Get excited. Then this new stuff comes out and it's mediocre. That pisses some people off. I could see the reason why people are angry with it. And it's understandable. And I mean, removing it from like a petition to remove it from canon, I don't know exactly. I mean, this is something we just have to deal with at this point. And the first one wasn't.
That's so fucking nerd-tastic.
It is very like
That's
just
really
nerd
dumb.
rage.
It's
up,
not.
up
First
the
of all, they're
wazoo.
not going to do it. They've spent billions on these fucking movies. They're not going to go back and start making a different storyline because the majority of the people that watch these movies, Caitlyn, forgive me, this isn't directed at you or anybody I personally know, but everyone else, go fuck yourself.
Bunch of
the
fucking
majority of the
normies.
people that watch these movies have little tiny brains and itty bitty attention spans.
Dude, I got the
and
smallest
they-
brain. What are you talking about? What do you mean, not me?
Elementary cartoons. They're entertained by shit that has loose, poorly written plot, paper thin character. They don't care about quality. It's about how much explosions there are and how many abs can they get. The people that are enjoying these movies and loving these movies is the best Star Wars movie ever. The majority of them, I guarantee you, are people that thought Transformers was the shit. They're Michael Bay fans. I fucking lay you odds, dollars to donuts. They're Michael Bay fans. I'm calling it right now.
Star Wars.
No, I wouldn't
It
say
was
either.
nowhere near as.
But there are
good
some people
as
saying
The
that
Force
it's in their like
Awakens.
top 5.
No, that's bullshit. It's nowhere near as good as like The Force Awakens.
I thought The Force Awakens was good. I saw that it was basically a rehash of an arc we've already seen in the Star Wars universe, and that's kind of stupid.
This one was a rehash of Empire Strikes.
Yeah, and then you saw that, like, oh, hey, the bad guy is going to help the good guy fight. The moment that Snoke, who is dead, because, hey, he was built up for no reason.
Easiest death ever.
Yeah, is Snoke the bad guy. That we maybe had 3 scenes.
Oh yeah,
and now
the
he's
one
dead.
where he like.
Yeah, the thing with the moment I saw the fact that Rey was there, she was being tormented, and Kylo looked somewhat concerned, I knew that he was going to betray him. There was nothing otherwise that like he would just. I had no doubt that wouldn't happen. I know that some way they were going to team up and fight together. I just knew it was going to happen.
The fight is pretty badass.
And a lot of people are saying that. I didn't think the throne room scene was all that good. I mean, some of the choreography was all right, but for the most part, and they missed out big because they didn't use Duel of the Fates. Are you fucking serious? Like that song defines badass lightsaber battles, and we didn't get it. I love Duel of the Fates, and we missed it out.
They're trying to distance themselves from the prequels as much as possible, and if they were smart, they would accept them. Accept them, use what you can from it, but just don't use the shit from the prequels. Use the good parts, like Duel of the Fates, for instance.
Yeah. And just a couple more things, Shawn, and I'll let you, I'll unleash you, I guess would be the better word. And
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut, I'm sorry.
It's fine. No, it's not a big deal.
Angry.
It's all a conversation. Angry. It's all a conversation.
So much anger.
And it felt like, again, a lot of it was a cop-out. Again, it was shot well. There were some really cool moments and genuinely things that wowed people. And I had moments where I was wowed, the way that it looked, some of the things that showed. But you can't replace... I can't think of the word. I don't know. It's just like there's a lot of flash, but no substance underneath it. And a lot of people can come with the retort that, maybe the original trilogies weren't masterpieces of writing in themselves. But there at least felt like there was an attention to keeping the world contained in a way where you had set rules and they followed them. And I feel like in this movie, we weren't following any rules. It's like, oh, hey, if we have a problem, we can solve it. Some people may die, whatever. It's not a bit like one thing that I didn't realize, Caitlyn, and Shawn showed me in a picture. You know how like they had the scene at the start where they dropped bombs?
With the girl?
They were in space. How'd they drop bombs?
What?
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Another thing that you hear a lot for sci-fi films, and an issue with sci-fi, is how stuff was burning in space. And again, like to a point, you'd see some fire going because there's oxygen in these ships when they're pressurized, but you would not see anywhere near these massive explosions that you see these ships going through by getting hit by lasers. Because for the most part, it looks cool, yeah, but you wouldn't see like these massive explosions in space. You're in a vacuum.
Tiny puffs of light, but the explosions don't bother me. That kind of shit.
That's something
like
that's just a small gripe with just sci-fi set in space. It's everywhere. It's just because it looks cool. It there's an oomph to it. It makes sense. I understand. It's just something it's a small pet peeve. It has nothing to do with this film. It's just find that interesting. But that bombs thing I thought was funny. The fact that they
I
fell.
didn't think about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either. So
there would be some slight gravity in the space around a planet, which is where they were, but they were nowhere near enough for those things to do more than just float.
Yeah. So finally, real quick, we had the final scene. It was really cool. I liked the fact that it was initially white, and then as the battle continued, it turned red. It was really cool. It felt like an actual battle was going on. Besides this whole space tag we were experiencing for the past hour of the movie, and it felt like space tag. I don't know. And then so ultimately, Rose and Finn didn't really happen, and nothing really important happened. It just felt like a lot of this movie, nothing really was accomplished, and we just have a setup to this third of the trilogy. Now, I've also heard some people say that you can't really judge this because it's part of a trilogy, but I think I'm looking at this not as a Star Wars film, but as a film in general, and it just was not well written. You can't refute that. It just did not have, there's no way, and the people are defending this film like it's nobody's business, and it's okay to have something come out that is not good, that belongs to a franchise that you love. It happens all the time. There's additions to things that just aren't good, and it's possible for this trilogy to not be one of them. Some people like it, some people, yeah,
the Marvel property.
Some people love it, some people hate it. I understand why it's polarizing, because anything that's a huge franchise, there'll always be people willing to defend it to the death. But I went into this film watching it as a film, and it did not have good writing. That's my final setting. That's my motto of this whole conversation. For me and my opinion on it, it was a fun film, but it was not anything. I expected more. I had more expectation. They did not capitalize on anything that was set up for this world to go forward, and it just felt like a filler episode. So now I'm going to unleash Shawn. Now, some things he was going to get heated. Some things that Shawn may say may not reflect the opinions of the Thought Patrol podcast. Please do not send us any angry mail or death threats. No, I'm just playing. So I'll have Shawn explain what he did not like about the film. We'll talk about it a little bit. And like I said, this is our main topic. So go ahead, Shawn. What you got for us?
Well, I'll start by saying I actually, if I use the term enjoyed, it's kind of strong. But I actually I hated this one slightly less than I hated 7. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Force Unleashed was absolute fucking garbage.
Force Awakens
to me.
Was it?
Force Awakens was. That's how much I like the movie. I remember it.
Caitlyn just looked at me, Shawn, and she's like, "I have no taste."
I love that movie.
I mean, again, you're not a fan, so
yeah,
as a movie, it was good. I'd say,
even if she was a fan and she loved it, most fans adored that movie. They walked out cheering. They cheered in the stands.
The white people clapping.
They got off on that movie, and that's okay. I don't understand why, even a little bit, and I usually can. I can usually understand why somebody would like a movie, even if it's a bad movie. Fuck, one of my favorite movies is one of the worst video game movies of all time.
Avatar? Oh, wait, no.
No, Super Mario Brothers. I love that movie. I had so much fun watching that movie.
Oh, he's fucking awful.
But I never watched it. I never watched it as a Super Mario adaptation. I watched it as, dude, I get to watch Bob Hoskins and John Leguizamo in a movie together. I don't give a shit what they do. This is going to be funny. And it was. I thought that shit was funny as shit. I enjoyed the shit out of that movie. And nobody likes that movie, and I think it's super fun. But I think part of that might just be 90s nostalgia. You know, it's taken me a long time, because I used to see nostalgia as being something that has no value until because they say, well, you like it because it reminds you of a another time or whatever. I don't like older things because they remind me of another time. I just like them because I enjoy them. But I think on a subconscious level, I think that's where nostalgia kicks in. I don't think it's like you're actually sitting there going, wow, this reminds me of 20 years ago. I really like it. I don't really think that's how it works. It's just you get pleasurable sensations from anyway. The point is I get that people
Shawn?
like the movie. I don't understand why.
Give me 1 second. Get the dog out of the fucking room real quick. Bruce is like harassing us. He's like jumping up like on the chairs, pushing Caitlyn across the room. If you guys have been hearing like little struggle, it's like struggle going about because Bruce is jumping all over us. Get him out of the room for real quick.
Come on.
Bruce, you're too heavy for this. Come on now. I understand you want love, but we'll play with you after.
For an hour.
Yeah, she's been bent all over him for the past half hour while we've been talking. Yeah, go mess with Dad. Dad loves you too. All right. Sorry about that, everyone. That's our fourth host for today, Bruce. What's Bruce's last name? No, Bruce Linguini Francini. What'd you say?
Puccini?
That was close enough.
What'd you say?
Francini, I think. That was close enough. Hey.
Great minds think alike. Okay, Shawn, keep going.
Sorry about that.
I don't think this is a situation of it being nostalgia. And I think that both movies are horrible. Absolutely fucking horrible. They do no respect. The original trilogy were bad. There's no bones about it. They weren't great. I liked the first one, almost all of it. I thought the problem with Jar Jar is because they didn't have the two droids. They wanted some comic relief. They put Jar Jar in. Would have been fine if they hadn't laid it on so thick. and if they hadn't done fart humor and shit like that. I realized he was trying to aim some stuff to kids, but I think that was the only real drawback to the first movie. Otherwise, I enjoyed it. I mean, granted, it wasn't the best plot, but I think it worked. And even with its flaws, if you had lessened the Jar Jar, I think it would have been fine. The second movie, the first 3/4 of it was absolute trash because there was no charisma between the two main leads. The horrible CG apple thing. It's sand. It's coarse. I don't like it. It gets everywhere. Yes, I'm fucking the quote up. I don't care. It's the worst line of dialogue I've ever heard in a movie, and I cringed while watching it in the theaters. It was that bad. The second movie was garbage. The only thing that was good was that last part when they were fighting on Geonosis. That was fun. And then the third movie had some decent parts, but it was like it had too much plot, and they hadn't done enough to develop Anakin to make his descent to the dark side feel natural. It was forced. With these new movies, they rely entirely on MacGuffins. No decent writing, no understandable character reactions, no understandable character knowledges. Hey, I'm a janitor. The stormtroopers are that whole culture. The whole Imperial culture runs off of rigid control and lack of choice. And I don't care what military you try and base this off of, but you will never find a janitor in the military that knows all of their deepest secrets and most sensitive documents. He knew where everything was to shut down a fucking space, Death Laser, Death Star Part 2. He knew where the weakness was in that battering ram laser.
Are we talking
he
about
knows
Finn?
all these.
Yeah.
Yes, Finn.
Okay.
Everything he knows doesn't make any sense. That's just for starters. Finn is an idiot. He makes all the wrong choices. He absolutely does not have. If you take out his magical ability to know every weak point that the empire that he worked for, what are they called? The New Order.
The First Order.
If you take out his First Order, take out his magical ability of lazy shit writing about knowing all the weaknesses of the First Order, and what does he do? What other purpose does he serve? Because he doesn't have any good dialogue. Any jokes they give him, the humor in these movies has been trash. What other purpose does he serve? None. He is a paper-thin, pointless character. And that sucks because I like John Boyega. And I think he's a great fucking actor, and I loved Attack the Block. And I think they're wasting him on Finn. Finn is absolutely pointless to the plot. Pointless. You could have removed him from every single scene, and everything would have fucking functioned the same. The only thing that would have happened is they wouldn't have had all the miracle cures to shut everything down. You'd have actually had to write a real plot. They would have had to have figured things out. They would have had to, but instead they've got Finn the MacGuffin. They have BB-8 the MacGuffin, who is able to hack absolutely everything. R2 couldn't do everything. R2 he would get to a jack. He would find out where floors were. But did you see R2 somehow roll his way up into an ATST that's 30 feet off the ground? Somehow open the door to an ATST, get inside, hack into the computer. Did we ever see R2 do anything that fucking insane? No. I think the weirdest thing we ever saw him do was deploy little jets and fly for about 5 minutes.
He does do that, yeah.
Yeah.
That's about the weirdest thing. This R2 functioned under some kind of understandable reality. They had a baseline of reality that they created for the original 6 movies that everything held to. And yes, R2 was his own sort of MacGuffin. We can't find the princess. Where is she? R2 hacked the computer. But that hacking made sense. The shit BB-8 does makes no sense whatsoever. At all. Finn doesn't make sense. Here's 2 characters that don't make sense. Let's look at Rey. Rey was abandoned on a planet by, 2 bums. They died on the planet. She, for some reason, just recently started feeling this nagging emptiness inside her, this feeling of whatever that she doesn't adequately explain to Luke. She talks to Luke 3 times, gets an adequate understanding of the Force enough to beat him in swordplay with her stick, to go and float a shit ton load of rocks. You saw how much work it took a real Skywalker to do that, right? And then she just magically does that. She's
Space
a fucking
magic.
walking MacGuffin. Space magic, yeah, but no
MacGuffin.
training.
That's our word of the day,
Attitude.
MacGuffin.
That movie is nothing but MacGuffins. There's no writing to try and actually give us a step-by-step explanation of how things come to pass. No kind of logic. Even within Star Wars, of course, there's space magic in Star Wars. So you say there's no logic, but there is. Characters behave in an understandable fashion. Nobody magically knows things just because the story needs them to know it. They know it because there's a logical reason why they know it. They've stolen plans. They didn't magically know the plans. They didn't have somebody who's like, oh yeah, wait, I worked there for 3 days. I fixed a photocopier. The top secret death laser has a tiny thin circuit. It's called a quasi whatever. And then if you go and you hit it in just such a fashion, then what's going to happen is it's going to transform into a giant space dildo and just ram right into the ass of your fucking tastes because this movie sucks.
I like how the way that kind of spun back around, that joke there. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I
didn't know where it was going at first,
so
but it spun back around. It completed itself. The cycle's over. That was good.
So Rey serves no purpose except to be a MacGuffin. Finn serves no purpose except to be a MacGuffin. BB-8 is a constant MacGuffin. You have constant MacGuffins. There's no you can't trace a line to see how something gets somewhere. It's like the line starts, there's a huge gap. Answer. They just know everything. Leia gets ejected into space. And through, I don't know, maybe she had a little bit of force training, protects her body from exploding. Right. Okay. Luke projects himself halfway across space because of force. In the previous movies, the force had a certain type of limit. It worked within a certain realm of natural, right? Nobody flew. They didn't fly. They didn't float. They didn't shoot lasers. They would create electricity in the air and arc lightning.
The Emperor
didn't fly.
Was that weird?
When you mean when he fell down a tunnel?
No, the Beyblade thing he does to attack sometimes.
I
mean, that could be like a forced jump.
Yoda?
There's like a forced jump, maybe.
Yoda, right?
No, it was like in.
Well, he's using when they fight, they enhance their fighting with the Force. They enhance their jumps. They enhance their swings. They're able to. They're harnessing energy. They're harnessing the Force.
A forced jump than a fly. Makes
right,
sense.
But they're not flying. They don't float. They don't summon fireballs.
Leia used
from D&D.
Leia used a force fart. Then she force farted her way.
I don't know
to the airlock
she
thing.
Yeah,
it was a force queef.
Pushing.
Yes,
I in theory, knowing what I know in the expanded universe about the Force, Luke projecting himself that far might have been possible. And Leia surviving a vacuum of space might have been possible. But even if they were, and that is a stretch for what the Force can be used for, putting it in the movie was lazy. It was just lazy. It was horrible writing. And I'll get to where this is all going in a moment. But in any of the books and any of the novels, the majority of the time, anytime you see the Force happen, it's like in the Matrix. They can't fly in the Matrix, but they can use their knowledge of the programming to enhance themselves or to enhance what they're doing. The Force works in a similar fashion. You sense how the world works, and you are able to bend its rules because you're able to sense the ebb and flow of the Force and how everything's connected. That's how come you can deflect blaster bolts. But it doesn't mean you can stop light. Light is a naturally occurring phenomena. All a blaster bolt is it's a laser. It's harnessed light forced in a specific direction at a specific strength. So those are laser shots. Kylo Ren stopped light and just held it there while he talked with somebody. That's not Force. It's not how it works. That's Disney being lazy and going, oh, it's Force magic. We can make it do whatever the fuck we want it to. Was that a moment where everybody was like, oh my God, that's badass? Hell yeah, it was. That is badass. It's not Star Wars, but it's cool. And that's all these movies are, is a bunch of fucking cool scenes that don't make sense. characters that make choices that any other believable character in the same position would not do. People behaving in a way that is not believable in any kind of a situation, be it fictional or otherwise, making choices that don't make sense. Why, for the love of God, would you have Luke Saber? And then, and again, this is Disney at work. I've got Luke Saber here. I'm butthole eyes. Come here. Here's Luke Saber. I'm not going to tell you how I got it. I've got time, but that's a story for another time because movie reasons, because Disney logic, because we want sequels. So we're not going to get back to that until 3 sequels later, even though that would help make this story make more sense. Nah, fuck it, because MacGuffin. That's what the new Star Wars arc is. This is the because MacGuffin arc. You had the MacGuffin original trilogy. You had the prequel. This is the because MacGuffin. Because there's no other fucking reasons why any of this happens. You have a shitload of enemy ships chasing a tiny group of rebel ships. It takes one space phone call to have a handful of other ships approach from other directions. They can't jump to light speed. What are you going to do? All you do is blockade them.
They had at least 3 ships there. All they had to do was fucking flood them with TIE fighters. I don't give a shit if you can't cover them from that distance. What do you need to cover from? They might have a surface cannon or 2. Yeah, exactly. Send
all
1,000 TIE...
It's a common naval attack. And number one, space is 360 degrees. It's not a flat playing field. Why was everybody arranged on a horizontal plane?
It's a game of tag. I told you, it's space tag.
What does it mean?
It's so dumb. So many dumb things. Akbar going out without any kind of fan service was stupid. This is a character that is beloved by fans for 30 years, 40 years. Beloved character. What are we going to do? Fuck it. Suck him out a window. We're not going to say anything. We're not going to give him a moment. We're just going to trash him. Luke, he's going to give up the ghost. Of course, in any Star Wars story, Luke would look at this situation and go, there's no fucking way I'm walking away. They need me. But in this, he's like, oh, well, Rey's untrained. I've already said she borders on the dark side. She doesn't know shit about anything. She's already proven she's not capable of critical decision-making skills. She's rash. She's headstrong. She runs off in the wrong direction. Every given possibility. Let's go ahead. No, fuck it. I'm retiring. They don't need me. Rey will be fine. She's untrained, untested, and she's proven herself to make stupid decisions.
Well, in a way, he really didn't.
I'm retiring.
He didn't really give a fuck. But
which also didn't make sense. That's out of his character. Everything that happened is not Luke Skywalker. It's not the Luke Skywalker we saw in the original trilogy. He goes from badass Jedi Knight to shit. One student failed me. It was my sister's kid. I'm a bad person. Goodbye, guys.
Yeah, I'm gonna harbor this negative emotion and let it destroy me instead of trying to do something about it.
Which we saw Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy grow beyond that sort of inner pettiness and inner conflict. We saw him grow past that through his father. And then they completely undid that character arc, undid all of that growth by him failing Adam Driver's character. Kylo Ren, terrible fucking character, stupid bad guy, horrible Dark Lord user, and just not entertaining to watch. Stupid character. But what all this comes down to, the lazy writing, the characters that just magically know shit as if they didn't have time to give you any kind of a detailed arc on how this story came to be. Where do you normally see a super condensed story where they fuzz over or blur over or just skip plot development and story development to try and get to a climax and a conclusion quickly? You see that in children's cartoons. You see that in Tom and Jerry. You see that in, I don't want to say Dexter's Lab because that's written with some kind of brains, but you see that in, I haven't watched My Little Pony, so I won't throw that under the bus, but any Care Bears episode you ever watch. Johnny Test actually had more plot development than Star Wars, but I'll throw that in there. If you take any simple, not intelligently written, any simple children's cartoon for the 6 to 8 range, they have, your cast of characters are trying to stop the bad guy. They all just magically figure shit out because there's not time in a 14 to 22 minute episode to explain how this guy knows quantum physics. So they'll just be like, oh, well, I studied quantum physics a while back. Boom, done. There we go. He studied quantum physics in his spare time. There's your MacGuffin there. He knows quantum physics. So
I was going to say that. Like the birth of a MacGuffin. And then as soon as I was going to say that, you're like, that's your MacGuffin there.
Yeah. In a short half-hour children's, and I mean children's show, which Disney has mastered. Kim Possible, for example, is a fucking stupid show. There's a perfect example. Kim Possible knows ninja moves.
Caitlyn sat up from her chair, dude.
How dare you?
Oh dear God! All right, look. The point is in a half-hour children's cartoon, you don't explain how people know what they know.
It's a cartoon.
Don't explain how problems are solved. You have quick story beats. Okay, here's a problem. What do we do? Well, the bad guy wants to control the world. Are we going to explain his motivations? No, we don't have time. He's simply a bad guy. Are we going to explain how the characters learned what they've learned? No, we don't have time. We'll just give them a magic cube. Give them a pixie that sits on their shoulder. Give them a fairy or a fucking Dragon Ball or something. Or they just magically know it because they were a janitor at that high school for 5 minutes. So they know that the principal has a safe hidden in a secret underground dungeon guarded by a pet dragon. All of these type of things that if you really look at a story, any children's cartoon, any simple children's cartoon, not one that's written for a broad range of ages like Dexter's Lab was or things of that nature where there's some intelligence to them. And I don't mean Dexter's Lab was written intelligently plot-wise, but there's just a lot of intelligence behind the jokes. When you take a simple children's cartoon, it's not aimed at adults. It's not aimed at teens. It's not aimed at middle schoolers. It's just aimed at kids. They skip any kind of serious writing. People just know it, or there's a magic item that solves a problem. But they don't solve the problems themselves. They don't figure out their way through the problems. And they don't make believable choices. They make whatever choice has to happen to end the show in 30 minutes. And that's what's happening in Star Wars. They make whatever choice they need to make to get the story wherever Disney's decided it goes. So to me, what's happening is they start and they go, okay, well, we want the episode to end with this person dead, this person dead. We want these two together, these two together. We want this to happen, this to happen, and this to happen. That's where we want it ended. So they're like, okay, we got to kill Snoke. Okay, well, the audience is going to think it's really cool if Kylo Ren cuts him in half with a saber with his psychic ninja powers. Okay, cool. So just do that here. Well, how are we going to tell the audience it happens? Dude, the audience, they're fucking idiots. They're going to eat it anyway. It doesn't matter. Snoke obviously isn't as powerful. Well, even though he's super powerful and he senses things through a fucking hologram from across the galaxy, he's not going to know when you're right in front of him that you're plotting to cut him in half, even though he's already said that he can reach in and read minds. So he's obviously not going to do that now when it's oh so important.
He was saying, like, he was reading and he was like, oh, he's killing, like, the enemy. So he was like, I guess he was reading it wrong, though.
Yeah.
Like, he was reading it, but he was reading it in a different way.
He was misinterpreting it.
That whole point of dialogue wasn't put there to explain that he was misinterpreting it. That point of dialogue was there so that the audience could chuckle because they could see it moving. That wasn't written there to say, oh, I misunderstood the signs.
Yeah, because he was like literally narrating all of what Kylo Ren was doing. But he was thinking he was going to do it to Rey. But this dog.
That scene could have been written differently, and that could have been a badass turning point moment where you see Kylo Ren kill his master and take over. And instead, it was like, oh, we tricked you.
It was also weird that, like, all of this cool buddy-buddy fight scene happens. Nice. 5 minutes later, Rey escapes. Oh, I hate you again. Go fuck off. I helped you live, even though I could have easily killed you. But now all of a sudden I hate you again and I want all the rebels dead. So we're going to kill you anyway. Because why not? I thought that was weird.
Their choices, the way they behave, none of it's believable. It all happens because somebody is writing, says, okay, well, I need this person to be this way at this point. So this other stupid idea I had makes sense. So it just is. We're doing it because reasons. Because MacGuffin.
Space magic.
The whole thing rolls like a simple child's cartoon. They want certain things to happen, and they just fuzz logic, and they do whatever kind of magic cosmic cube thing they have to do, or whatever magical staff thing they have to do, or whatever, thou shall not pass. It doesn't matter. I'm throwing shit at Lord of the Rings when I shouldn't, because those movies were actually pretty good. But it's a stupid stupid story. It's stupid writing. None of it makes sense. None of the characters know things that make sense. Rey should be horribly confused and very bad at the Force. And even if she is a natural at it like Luke was, it should take training. And if you're going to say that, like, all right, for instance, Vader and the Skywalker line is super powerful. Did they ever come out and tell you why? The most they did, because at the very least, Lucas respected some of our intelligence, as they said that Anakin was genetically created. Now, they never came out and told you that. What they told you, and this is why I respect the original trilogy, the prequel series a little bit, they gave you hints. Sidious, Palpatine, told us there was a guy named Plagueis, who anybody who is a Star Wars fan knows is Sidious's mentor, the one that trained him. That was his teacher, right? Plagueis came, and then Sidious, then Palpatine. So Palpatine learned under Plagueis. Plagueis figured out how to transfer his soul into another body, and thusly stay immortal. Take his mind, his memory, everything with him. But he refused to teach it to Palpatine. Palpatine grew greedy and angry that he wouldn't share, and he killed him so that he couldn't be immortal. But he killed him after Plagueis had made a body, right? But when he made the body, he tinkered with the genetics. Now, this is all hinted at in the prequel, but they don't spell it out to you like you're retarded, like these new movies do. He made Anakin. Anakin is a clone, a genetic copy of Plagueis. But instead of cloning him in a vat, he created the life, and then he put it into Shmi Skywalker. And when he created that life, he tripled or quadrupled the midichlorians, which is basically what are they called in real life? They were used in
what is like the powerhouse of the cell? What is that called?
Mitochondria.
Mitochondria.
The mitochondria of the Force, boy.
All right. They are. Well, actually, Lucas actually tried to come out at one point in time and say that they are mitochondria, and everybody told him to shut up because we want the magic of the Force to be mysterious, and we don't want a scientific explanation, so stop being a doo-doo. But they are like mitochondria. They are the powerhouse of life and all life, right? And everything. And they bridge the connection between us and the usage of the Force. The more you have in your body, the stronger your connection to the Force. The reason why the Skywalker bloodline is cursed and so ridiculously powerful is because they started with Anakin, and they have more midichlorians than anyone else, and they always will. The midichlorians pass on through the genome, so to speak. So every Skywalker is going to be strong. So Kylo Ren being strong is good. He should be ridiculously strong, right? He should be, with proper training, on Luke's level. Every Skywalker should. If Leia had training in the books, she had the ability to be as strong as Luke, but she only trained a little bit in lightsaber combat and a little bit in using the Force. But in the books, she was so busy being a diplomat that she never went any further. So she could sense motivations and things like that, but that was about it. She was like Super Yoda light, you know? Like, she would sense things, and that's about as far as her Force abilities ever went. So for her to stretch like that in the fucking movie pisses me off, because they always balanced her character. She was strong in all of her stories, not because of her Force ability, but because of her diplomatic shrewdness, her intelligence, her wisdom. That was what made her a valuable character. They never MacGuffined her through anything with her Force abilities. As a matter of fact, she had to rely on her Force abilities in one of the books and failed. That's not the same Leia you're seeing in these movies. This Leia in these movies.
Sir, none of that's canon anymore. I'd have to let you not refer to that.
Not canon, with you. But it makes sense.
Yeah, no.
All the non-canon shit that Disney flushed.
Because the thing about
except
books,
for the Uzang Vong War, it all makes sense.
Because the thing about books is they kind of have to have good writing. You can't just wow people.
They all passed. Well, that's true. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
Fine. Completely fine.
All of those books past Lucas's desk. He read all of them. He had a team of people that made sure that every book that was written was congruent with every other book in the Star Wars canon. So up until a specific series, the Uzang Vong War, everything that happened, there were no canon issues. There was no inconsistencies between the stories. Everything locked together perfect, and all of the details worked together. There are so many inconsistencies between these two movies and the 6 that came before. It's ridiculous. But ultimately, again, I return to the fact you can point out the stupidity of a fucking slow-ass chase scene in space, the stupidity of every effort that anybody took in that movie ending in failure. All the side plots, all ended in trash, all failure. You could point out all the stupid lines and the Phasma being a fucking moron in the first movie and not hitting an alarm button, which would have made it a better movie. Or them not knowing how to fucking blow up the Super Death Star 3.0, and Finn not having top secret knowledge. There's no fucking way he could have known. You could take all of that out and you still have a movie written for 6-year-olds with slightly adult things and little bits of fucking fan service thrown in to try and tide over anybody that has higher standards. It's a cartoon. It's a Disney cartoon. It follows the same kind of story beats that Frozen does. Both 7 and 8, which are shit movies, both of them do. I hated everything about 7. And 8, I liked the scene where they were in the little rickety ships flying out on the salt flats. But again, ended in failure. Complete waste of my time watching it. Complete waste of my time. Going to get the plans, complete waste of my time. Getting to see Benicio del Toro be awesome. That was cool. Shitty fucking movie, but his role was cool. You know, it was Finn's character is garbage. The mechanic, the one you hated so much, was probably the most interesting character in it, and she was garbage. You know, if Benicio del Toro had a chance to actually be a kid, I'll say he was the most interesting character. Thief, the hacker guy, he was the only interesting character in that movie. I take it back, because the mechanic was garbage too. The fucking girl with the bombs, that was I'll give you this much. The most intelligent character thing that they did was allow the audience to connect one half of a necklace to another half of a necklace. You know, the necklace that the camera zoomed in on 20 times with the bomb girl?
Yeah.
Because they didn't even trust us enough to notice the necklace from one camera shot. Because it's made for 6-year-olds. They treat the audience like they're 6. We don't have to explain anything that makes sense. We'll just MacGuffin our way. We won't give you a logical reason why somebody knows something. We won't give you a plot that makes sense. We'll just go, oh, by the way, didn't mention this earlier. Heavily armored base right over there. We're just going to sneak little ships out. Are you fucking kidding me? And then Finn's like, oh, well, when they're using their heavy scanners, they don't scan for light crap. Are you joking? They can see it through the view screen. You're not that far away. They just showed them watching it, and you can see the fucking ships flying away. And they knew about the ships the whole fucking time anyway. Why would Finn think that? Did he mop the entire fucking ship? I don't think so.
He cleaned the scanner with Windex, dude.
And he cleaned the battering ram laser. Yeah. And he cleaned the entire Super Death Star.
He was really good at his job.
But none of it makes sense. None of it. Krylo's character, their behaviors, their choices, nothing makes sense because this was written for 6-year-olds. Because in a 30-minute cartoon, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to be entertaining for people with short attention spans and low IQs.
Okay. Real quick, because we're getting them on the two-hour mark. We've been talking about this for a bit. We're going to go around the table.
I made my point.
Yeah, you definitely have. We're going to give reviews of what we thought of this movie. Not the series of the trilogy, nothing. This film in general, out of a 10, we're going to give a score. Okay? We had a big-ass review corner, I guess. We all have seen it, and we have not yet decided. I'm sure you could probably assume what our scores might be. But I'm going to have you go first, Shawn. Out of 10, what do you think this movie, as this movie alone, what it deserves for a score out of 10?
I give it -4 limp lightsabers out of 10.
Okay. What do you think, Ken? What do you think for this film? After we've talked about it a little bit And because the thing about this is every fan goes through a honeymoon phase. That's where everyone is. That's where everyone was initially with 7. Everyone loved it. And then as the time started to pass, people went back to look at it. I was like, well, this movie wasn't as good as it initially intended because I have to look at it now as not just another Star Wars film, but as a film. And that's when people started to not like it because they started to see the flaws that were present in it of what Disney's been doing as they've been moving this franchise. So everyone's in a honeymoon phase. I've talked to people that are still in their honeymoon phase about this film in general. And I think as time starts to pass, people will kind of sit down and realize, hey, this was not as good as for this to be the best film of the franchise. Are you fucking kidding me? And then on the complete opposite, for this to be removed from the canon. Are you fucking kidding me? Come on, guys.
Let's stop. Foolish.
Let's stop nerd raging. And stop stuff, but just to sit down and analyze this as a film, not as a Star Wars movie, not as something that we loved when we were a kid movie, but as a film. We have to kind of sit and look at this because the only way we're going to get things to change as consumers do is to vote with our wallets. But hey, movie made, it's going to make a shitload of money because it's got that name to it. So
you can't fix it, man. There's no going back and fixing it.
There's no way in hell. No way in hell. It's just, hey, we're a podcast. We review stuff. We scream about things over the internet. Hopefully you guys have some kind of maybe tools of information you can use in case you're dealing with someone that might be in a honeymoon phase still. You got some information you can throw their way. Or maybe you are still in your honeymoon phase. You don't agree with us, and that's completely fine. If you like the movie, that's completely understandable. A lot of people like this film. And if you want to refute anything that we've presented, feel free to contact us in any way, either Discord, comments of the YouTube video. Feel free to hit us up. We'd love to discuss it with you. Pick your brain. That's what all this is about. It's all about generating discussion, learning people's points of view, stuff like that. We're not trying to shit on anyone in particular. We're just shitting on the movie. And again, that's our opinion. That's how we think. So, reviews. Let's go around the table real quick. We just passed the 2-hour mark. Quite an awesome episode. I really enjoyed you guys coming by to talk with us, or talk with me, and then you all tuning in to listen in. So, Caitlyn, what do you think? Out of a 10, what's your review? What review do you give?
I give it like a 5.
Okay.
I still liked it. I mean, I enjoyed watching it.
Now, that's an interesting thing, because what was it initially when we walked in here? It was a 9?
Yeah.
And it dropped down to a 5?
But then I really thought about it, and I'm like, they really didn't do shit in this movie, so...
Yeah, the writing was not the best.
It dropped.
All right, Shawn, you gave the -4 limp lightsabers out of 5. Now, like I said, I did not like the writing in this film. I felt like it was a major flaw going forward. I thought that this film was incredibly shot, so I have to give it some points for that. I thought it had some genuinely cool scenes. Music was nice as always, being Star Wars. And some of the direction, at least when it came to the way that everything was shot, I thought, was, like I said, was really good. So I think I'm around Caitlyn's. I think I'd give it around a 5, 5.5 out of 10. Well, let me see. 5 puppet ghost Yodas out of 10.
It looked like a puppet.
I'm pretty sure he was practical. I don't think he was.
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah, he was practical. That was one thing I appreciated.
It's to bank on the nostalgia, because all the original films were practical.
Yep.
Yeah. What about the little?
Some of the porgs looked like they were practical too. It looked like they were a mix of CG and practicality, though. But some of them looked like they were puppets as well. Just like a puppet, a costume of some sort, something like that, instead of it just being full on CG.
Yeah, there was one other scene that I liked. I liked it when, it was only like a 1 second clip, but when Chewie threw the door in, like kicked the door in,
kicked
like
the door
that,
down.
I liked.
Yeah,
that was a Chewie thing.
There was some. I give this movie credit where it has. It was a mediocre film, but it had some cool moments. I like the fact that in Luke's hut where he lives, he has his father's saber crystal. I thought that was cool because they broke that. I had a fact.
Okay.
So are you still going to stick with the -4, Shawn? Is that like your legitimate, or what do you really think? Is it really a -4 out of 10?
No. I would rather watch you take a shit than have to sit through that movie again. I am embarrassed.
Hey, I
am embarrassed for Star Wars. Like, that was the hateful thing that they did to Star Wars. It was hateful. It's greedy. They turned it into a worse version of Frozen. It follows all of their shitty fucking princess movie. Every movie that they've done that insults intelligence. It's like fucking trying to sit through Moana. Only Moana, even though it had a dumbass plot and really no intelligence behind the story whatsoever, it was still at least a little entertaining, even if it was cardboard cutout of pretty much everything else that's been done. It was sad. The fucking movie was sad. It was pathetic. Okay. I mean, the sad part is I actually liked it slightly more than 7. Like 7 was bad. This was also bad. But I actually visually liked a few things more because 7 didn't add anything visually that I enjoyed, whereas this had the door flying in, and it had
the door flying in.
Yeah, and it had that scene with the ships on the salt right before they fucking gave up on yet another plot arc, and they're like, wait, let's attack. No, fuck it, let's give that up too. No, yeah, screw that. Let's not do anything interesting in this movie.
Damn, Caitlyn's looking at a tweet right now, and she's looking at the second week box office drop-offs of the movies. Force Awakens had a 39% drop-off. Rogue One had a 58% drop-off, and Last Jedi had a 69% drop-off from last week. So like first week to second week, the percentage of people or the percentage of money that it made, how much it dropped from the first week to second. That's crazy. So Last
Rogue
Jedi
One,
dropped 70%.
I actually enjoyed.
I thought Rogue One was.
Rogue One perfect.
I thought it was mediocre.
I liked it.
Yeah,
that's a different combo.
I feel the same way about Rogue One that you guys do about this movie. Like I definitely didn't think it was as entertaining as the original Star Wars films. And I'm not talking about I wanted the same thing. I'm just saying as entertaining as I didn't think so. But it was a lot more like the books, like the Star Wars novels. It followed the same kind of rules that the original trilogy set. It felt like it took place in the same universe. It felt like it was well written. I did not have it was weaker by far, but at the very least I could sit there and go, I'm glad I went to see that movie. Okay. Rogue One, I will buy. It wasn't a good movie, but it was an enjoyable movie.
I love Rogue One.
As a Star Wars movie. It was okay.
That big black robot.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I like Donnie Yen in it too. They got big pointers from me from putting Donnie Yen in the movie.
All right. Well, thank you all again for tuning in. This was episode 33. Wait, is it 34? 33 of the Thought Patrol podcast. You may like us, you may hate us now. It's whatever. Thank you all for tuning in. Feel free to connect with us in any way. All of the ways to check our social media, stuff like that, will be in the description below of wherever you're checking us out on. If you want to play games with us, hang out with us, just hit us up. I'm available all the time. And so that sounds so lonely. So, real quick, before we sign off for tonight and get ready for excitement for tomorrow morning Christmas, give me an outro from everybody. What you got, Caitlyn?
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Nice. What do you got, Shawn?
Seriously, as hateful as I was this thing, I don't think that anybody who liked this movie is an idiot. I mean, I kind of do, but only because I just don't understand why people liked it. But I really don't think y'all are idiots. If you like the movie, that's cool. I just don't understand why. And that being said, seriously, tomorrow's a day of love. Everyone have a fucking amazing day tomorrow. Merry Christmas to you and your families. I love you guys. And most of all, and cherish this, hugs and kisses and all your pink parts.
That was beautiful. And time for my shitty one. But before we go, I shall leave you with a thought. Some of the first flags on pirate ships were red, not black.